guys. Thanks so much for joining me for Craft With Me on Friday. How has your week been? We will get into my week in just a little bit here. Lots of announcements and things to talk about tonight as we craft. We will be working in the Botanical Field Note Journal, which was the March Junk Journal Kit, where we build the journal in March and April this time because we had it held over. And so we're going to be working in that journal tonight. Last week was session number 1 for the Botanical Field Note Journal. And last week we made the cover, we constructed the cover and kind of, collaged the cover base and all that kind of stuff. This journal will have a journal topper, which is also a closure put on it. So at some point we will make that together. I think I'm going to make it in a video for 365, and that will be before we get finished with the journal. You guys will see that video pop up, and if it will definitely be a longer video, so plan on about 30 minutes for that video. When you do see it pop up on your if you're a subscriber, you'll see it pop up in YouTube. But we will work on that closure topper system in a separate video apart from our Friday night crafts with me sessions. And then tonight we were supposed to be sewing in a signature. If you guys have your signature ready, you by all means can go ahead and do that. My signature is not ready, and it just has to do with everything that's going on right now for this week. But I still have not found a digital. I will definitely find one next week when I am home. I have not been home all week long. I got home about 30 minutes ago when I put up the live stream. So I have not been home all week until about 30 minutes ago, and I'll get into how things are going a little bit later. But so I'm not going to sew a signature in tonight. If you want to see that part, I have done that several times in other series. But if you want to hang on till next week I will sew in a signature. We'll assemble it. We'll talk about what I'm sticking in mine. You guys will see it all, and then we'll sew that in. Tonight, I want to focus on ephemera. It's something where we're just going to flip-flop next week, next Friday and tonight, and just flip-flop them. So next Friday, we were supposed to do ephemera. I will do it tonight. And then tonight we were supposed to sew in a signature, and I will do that next week. I'll do that next week with you guys. Okay, so working in the Botanical Journal, let's work on some pockets, some tags, some journal cards. The first thing I'm going to start out with is going through all of the ephemera I have already made. Most of the ephemera was made in the 365 series in the mornings, however, not all of it. I want to go through there, see how much I already have made, what I'm lacking most, and then we will proceed with making ephemera tonight. So just a general craft with me kind of, ephemera making session. Then next week we'll talk about assembling a signature and getting that all done. And then at the end, after we do the signature part next week, if I need to make any other pockets or anything like that, we'll get them done. So the 4th video will be left with just, like putting everything in, gluing the pockets in. I will have done that off camera, but I'll show you where I put them. We can make any remaining ephemera and go through and do some of the decorating parts on the pages and stuff like that. So we're getting there. The cover, once I have a cover done, I think the rest goes fairly quickly, especially now that I'm doing ephemera every day in the 365 series. That definitely helps build up that ephemera stash. And honestly, I have enjoyed doing little bits every day versus, so before I started the 365 series, when I made journals, I did them very similar to the way I'm teaching you guys, where I made a cover, I made the signature, I made the pockets and the tucks, and then I made the things that went in the pockets, whatever, tags and journal cards and things you were going to stick inside of pockets. And then at the end, the very 5th part is always what I call zhuzhing, right? Like the little final touches. And that's, that's the 5th part. Usually I would decorate a cover in that 5th part, just because I don't decorate my covers until I'm all the way done with my journal. So that's normally the way I do a journal. But that meant sitting down and making all of your pockets and all of your ephemera to win the pockets pretty much like back to back to back to back. And that's a really hard way to do it, because sometimes, each ephemera piece can take an hour for a pocket or an hour for a tag or whatever, depending on how detailed you get with your making of your ephemera. So I think I really have been enjoying just making those little bits of ephemera every day throughout the month. And then by the end of the month, I usually end up with more than enough ephemera. I always have leftovers. So far, I've had leftovers of ephemera, even though I make 3 journals. So for you guys at home, if you're crafting along with me in the morning in the 365 video series, if you make the ephemera with me, you will have more than enough ephemera to fill whatever journal we're working on for the month. So I think that's kind of fun because you don't get burned out on feeling like you have to sit there and make ephemera for a journal for, 3 days straight, 8 hours a day or whatever, right? And then also something to consider is when you do make ephemera, when you got your journal all done and you're to the point where you're making the pockets and you're making the tags and things, the ephemera bit of it, if you sit down and try to burn through that all straight, where you don't have anything made ahead and you're just, I got to have 6 pockets, I got to have 8 tags, whatever, I kind of think the quality suffers because no one is going to spend an hour on each tag when you have to make a total of 30 for a journal, or an hour per pocket when you have to make 12 pockets, or whatever the case may be. So I think the journals are better quality, more detailed, making them in short little bits every day than getting burned out and feeling like, geez, I need to hurry up. I've spent like 8 hours making this pocket or whatever. So I think it's working out better, and I have been enjoying that. And I hope that you guys, are crafting along. I know many of you guys are. And I also, on the 365 series, if we could talk about that for just a minute, I know, pardon me, I have allergies and my nose is getting runny. Not really runny. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this week, I believe I only uploaded videos. I think I did 2 of them, either Monday or Tuesday. I don't know because all of my days are run together right now, but I know I am well behind in the 365 series, about 7 videos or 5, 6, I don't know how many it is. Do not stress. I've told you guys from the beginning, if I run behind in videos, we will make them up. So next week, more than likely, you will just have 2 videos every single day next week. Most of you guys are totally happy with that because, it's 2 different ideas per day. And most of you are okay with, spending 15 minutes here or 15 minutes there to watch those videos. Some people will be unhappy about that. And for those people, I do apologize. Something unexpected and unplanned has happened, and I am doing my best to keep up. But just know that for those of you who made idea journals and you numbered the pages with the different ideas, like, idea number 82, idea number 83, etc., all of the ideas will be there. We're just going to do 2 a day. So you'll have to adjust your idea books, but 2 a day throughout the week of next week. And that's what I'm planning on doing. I should be home. I know I'm home right now, but I will only be home for like 5 hours and then I'm going back. So I will be home working on catching up on videos as of Monday. I can't guarantee I will be in the state of mind on Monday, but definitely as the week goes on, I will start picking up 2 videos per day to catch up. And we have a whole big bunch of days left. I don't know how many, but we have 270-ish days left. So we have plenty of time to pick them up. So for anyone looking for an invoice, the whole super sale, I told you guys invoices before that this event happened with my family. I told you guys invoices for the super sale. Every single day I had a super sale, I told you guys invoices would not come out until next Monday. And now we've had something happen, and now they are going to be a further delay of a week. So you should not have even been expecting an invoice until Monday. And now we will be expecting an invoice next Monday instead of this coming Monday. So for looking for invoices, you were never going to get an invoice until Monday. And now you will get an invoice next Monday. So not this coming Monday, but a week from Monday. And that's just to give myself enough time to do it because I haven't been home at all this week. So once I get home and I can get back on track, we'll be fine. But I know there was a lot of people and they're like, oh, I didn't get an invoice. It's like, well, you were never supposed to get an invoice. And I know a lot of people are new and they have a hard time because they join videos or sales. They're not there on time and they're not there in the beginning to hear the information. and they also do not stay to the end to hear the information. And so just understand that you were never going to get an invoice until Monday before this thing happened. And now I have been gone an entire week, meaning you will now get an invoice 1 week later than that. And so I only stress about saying that so many different times because it doesn't seem to matter whether I say it 10 times or 100 times. There's still people who miss the information. So I've said it now a couple times. That's right. The longer that I prolong invoicing you, the longer you get to keep your money, right? So I would much rather do it that way than invoice you and then not be home to ship your things. So if you guys just hang on to your money, know that no one is getting invoiced until next Monday, we'll all be good. So everyone should be fine with that. However, unfortunately, there are some people who just don't listen, and that's saying it kindly. There's some people who have messaged me in the last couple of days extremely upset because they didn't get an invoice and I didn't answer their email because I have not even opened my email in probably a week. I have not been home. I do not have cell service where I am. It is a rural little farm. It's right on the outskirts of town, but it's far enough out where I don't have cell service. So I cannot open anything. I cannot look at anything. And even if I did have cell service, I can tell you guys, I have been running all day long, every day. I am absolutely beyond my point of exhaustion to the point where when you guys are messaging me unkind things and it's only a couple people, you're just getting banned. So the information is out there. What you need to know is out there. I've always been upfront with when you were supposed to get invoiced. I've always been upfront with what I'm doing. I've always been upfront with why 365 videos didn't come out this week. And still some of you guys are just not meshing with the information. And so yes, I am a little bit, I'll just be polite, annoyed with the people yelling at me because I'm not putting out free content on time and because I didn't invoice them when I said I wasn't going to invoice them. Hopefully you guys all understand that. Patience is definitely a virtue. And when you get to the point where you are just so overly exhausted, this is back-breaking physical labor from sun up till sundown every single day. And then it's mental stress and emotional things. And I know some of you guys have been through this because you guys, I did see messages when I told you guys I was going to do this last week before I left. I saw many kind messages and people were saying, hey, I had to go through something similar when your parents died, right? Like you had to go and you had to clean out like their whole estate too. And so I know some of you guys know what I'm doing. For those of you who don't know what I'm doing, I had a super sale last week. During the super sale, that last couple of days, I think it was maybe last Friday, I told you guys what I was going to be doing this week. My mother passed away, but she passed away, it's not like she just suddenly passed away. She passed away a year ago. Oh my gosh, it'll be 2 years in August. Okay. So she passed away and left my dad alone there. And he is elderly, right? Because my parents are, they're old, right? They were old, they're elderly, right? So she had put some container, like shipping containers on their, well, my dad, okay, let me start at the beginning. My mother collected a bunch of things. She was putting boxes and boxes in the garage. My dad wanted the garage for his car collection, and it was becoming like a little bit of a tiff between them because she was collecting so much stuff and putting it in the garage, and he wanted the space. And so he said the best solution would be for him to buy storage containers and put them on the property. So they have like, it's called we call it a mini farm in Arizona. I don't know what you guys call them. Different parts of the country call them different things. But basically, so you think of like a farm being, 10 acres or 40 acres or whatever. These are mini farms. So they're like 2 acres, right? They're small. And so that's where they lived. And so they had property to put these storage containers on. And when I say storage container, I mean like you know, the metal shipping containers that they use to ship things overseas on those big shipping freight boats. So they're like 40 feet long by 8 feet wide. And he at first bought her one because then she could put all of her stuff in that shipping container and he could have his garage. There would be less arguing, that kind of thing. So he bought her the first one, and then she moved her stuff in, you know, from the garage to that. And then slowly over time, they bought they ended up getting they have four altogether. One of them they use as kind of like a, it's next to the pool and it's kind of like a pool house kind of. They've done some renovations to it. It's a little bit, they have a lot of grandchildren who would come over and swim, and it would be a place where they could change and hang out and stuff like that. So one of the four is more of a pool house, but the other three were my mom's stuff. And so if you think about how much stuff a 40-foot by 8-foot shipping container can hold when it's stacked from floor to ceiling, it's a lot. It's like 3 semi trucks full of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. And so I told you guys last Friday, I believe, we were going to have to come out and move all of the stuff from the containers because no one knew what she had put in there. It was everything from, you know, just household stuff like, you know, family pictures and whatever, to we found unopened Christmas presents that she had bought and wrapped and at some point was planning on giving someone, and for whatever reason they were out there. Maybe that member of our family didn't come to Christmas that year, or I don't know what, but they were out there. We found brand new baby clothes that she had apparently bought for one of my sisters or my brother's wives, I'm not sure, but they were brand new baby clothes. And these were like, everything was in storage bins and boxes. And so we didn't know what was out there. We moved it all out so that my plan is to move it out last Saturday, and then the family, because my brothers and sisters would need to come and go through and look and see what was there and what they needed to take with them. Also, my dad needed to know what was there because there were certain things that he was like, well, where did that go? And he was looking for it, right? And so the plan was to move it all out on Saturday, have the family come throughout the week and look at it. And then I was supposed to help him do an estate sale to get rid of it. The goal is to get rid of all of it because my dad wants to sell those shipping containers and get them off of his property so that, because he's, again, elderly, when it's time to put the house up for sale, those shipping containers are not on the property because they didn't place them where I would want them, and I'm sure the new owners of the house also would not want them. So it was just kind of like to clean out. So because it's acres, you know, there's place for people to maybe do some farming or have a huge garden or put horses back there or whatever they wanted to do, right? So he wants to get rid of them. When my mom passed, at that point, he knew that there were 3 containers out there, and he knew that they were full of stuff because he had seen, you know, he opened the door and saw what was in there, but he had no idea. None of us kids even knew what she had put in them. And so anyway, Saturday, I hired some people to come and help move the stuff out of them on Saturday. We got it all moved out, and then we proceeded to start opening boxes where we started finding all kinds of crazy things that we didn't know. I mean, I knew that, you know, she had antique stuff out there and she had vintage things that she had collected, or, you know, at one point she had like a china cabinet. It was full of a collection, and she would change her mind and she wouldn't want to collect that anymore, and she would just box it up and put it out there, and then she'd start a new collection, and that just kept happening, like rotating collections. Some of the stuff was seasonal, where she would have like a collection of whatever for Christmas, and then it would go back in the containers or whatever. So I did know some things she had out there, but there was so much stuff that we have still not today. Today's Friday. It has been out for 6 days. We have been opening boxes for 6 days, boxes, tubs, like, you know, the storage totes, for 6 days, and still have not seen it all. And when I mean 6 days, I mean from 6 a.m. The sun goes down here like 6:30 p.m. From 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. opening containers, boxes, whatever, like nonstop. it has been terrible. And I don't mean to be like, you know, but it has been terrible because a lot of the stuff, it was just a lot of the stuff, it was hard to see what she was doing. Like, I don't understand why she bought it, why we had it, all of that kind of stuff. And the other part for my dad is like, just frustration with her and not wanting to be angry that she left such a mess. And in the beginning, I didn't feel any of that kind of emotion. In the beginning, I was like, well, let's just do the best we can with it, whatever. And now after day 6, I'm I'm really just honestly exhausted. And you guys know I was already exhausted before I even started this project with him. And so I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I just don't understand. My mom was not a shopaholic as far as I know. But when you see that much stuff, and I know it was over a long period of time that she bought these things, but like then we found, I mean, it was probably 80 storage, plastic storage tubs full of brand new things. And it wasn't like she just bought one of something, she bought like five of something. And it was like, why? Just why? What was your plan with it? And after 6 days of it, I'm starting to get kind of like, goodness, mom, like, I just, I don't get it. And I'm kind of over it. And I'm kind of over because in this process, we have also been selling bits and pieces and parts, right? So we've organized certain things. And then today we started the actual estate sale started today, and it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But throughout the week, we had been selling bits and pieces of it. And so, like, there's things that I, said were too valuable to be out there. There's things that were too, like sentimental kind of things. Those went back in. There were family things, like we found, like I said, boxes of family photos and things like that. Those went back in. And then my dad's been finding miscellaneous things. He's like, we could use a new toaster. We don't need four of them, but we could use one. So slowly some of the stuff has made its way back into the house. However, for the most part, we've just been working with people selling bits and pieces. I've listed certain things. We've been selling some of the little individual collections, but part of it was we needed to find all of the collections, right? Because as organized as she was in putting all of the things in totes and keeping it all stacked and organized, and different containers had different things in there. So apparently she had been organizing as she had been going, but it's just so much stuff. And it is just so much hard work. And so, because I have brothers and sisters, we waited a year. My dad was getting very frustrated because none of his children would come and help him. None of his children were showing any interest in, either taking things or helping sort through things or helping him move the things. He's too old to move anything. One of the containers has like furniture that it was probably antique when we got it, and it's definitely antique now. And so one of the containers had furniture in it, and there's no way my dad's moving furniture. While he might be able to carry a tub, he certainly couldn't do that. And so anyway, my dad was getting frustrated. It's Arizona. That's where I live. That's where everything is. And it is hot here. And so we are very near the 100-degree days. And my dad was like, look, I'm not going to do this another year. Either it gets done now, or we're just going to have to pay someone to come and pick up those storage containers full of all of the stuff, and no one will ever know what she put in there. And it's just, we're going to have to pay to have it disposed of, even though none of it is trash. It's kind of a hoarder, but it's clean hoarder, where everything is in a clean, brand new tub and nice and whatever. But the thought of having him just pay someone, and it would have been astronomical amount of money for someone to come and pick up those containers and then dispose of all of the contents inside of them. Would have been like over 10 grand to have that done. And so I knew there were family things out there. I'm the oldest daughter, and I knew there were family things out there. And I kept telling my brothers and my sisters, there's this out there. I know there's that out there. I'm sure that you guys want some of it. I'm sure that, if you come and look, you will find things that you're very happy, she kept this stuff, sorry for that view. She kept this stuff for 40, 50, 60 years, some of it. So why would we throw it away now? And just, I think it would have killed my mother to know that that's what was going to happen with it, because it was stuff that she cared about. Obviously, she cared for her family more than she cared for stuff, but she did like the stuff, and that stuff gave her, a lot of joy, like collecting the stuff. You guys know how it is to collect things, right? So I think it just, for me, it boiled down to the fact of my dad needed help. No one would help him. And the fact of, if I let him throw it all away by paying someone to throw it all away, if my mother was alive, it would have killed her. um, I'm sure that I don't know if they can see or they can't see in heaven. No one can tell you, but I didn't want that on my conscience of just letting that happen. So that's why I volunteered to help him with it. And I fully expected, once I did the heavy lifting of getting it out of the storage containers, and they also have a large barn. So it was not just the containers, it was the barn as well. But I figured after I did the heavy lifting of getting it all out, my brothers and sisters would come and they would look through it, because finally you could see it all. And throughout this entire week, not one of my brothers and sisters has stepped up to help. No one is offering to do anything. So as I'm opening bins and stuff, now I am sorting containers for them, because I'm like, well, these are your dolls from 30 years ago when you were a kid, or, like stuff like that. This is our bins of family photos. These are our bins of family home movies. Like, so I've also been sorting bins for them, trying to keep stuff, because I know they're busy and I get it. Of all of my brothers and sisters, quite honestly, I am the most busy of them, but yet I'm making time to do it. And I don't mean it to sound like that, but I am kind of annoyed at this point. But anyway, I have been putting stuff aside for them. So that's also been, kind of time consuming. My dad's just like, if they won't come get it, then they don't deserve it. And I'm like, but that's not really fair, because they don't even know it exists, right? Like, they don't know it is here. So anyway, that is what I've been doing for the last week, since last Saturday. I will be finished with it on Sunday. On Sunday, we will have to pay people to take away the rest of it. But at least at that point, I have not opened every box or container yet, because there's too many of them. So at that point, I am hoping in the next 2 days to have opened the final row of them. And hopefully I at least have taken the family things that we care about out. The super expensive stuff, hopefully I have gotten all out. I know that I've missed it, because there's been bits and pieces where I just, I didn't know it existed. So as I've been finding, like, things that are worth several $100s, I've been trying to pull them out and put them somewhere, so that, we can have, like, I don't sell that kind of antiques anymore, but I can certainly have people I know come and do that. And I have had some of them come out and look at collections and stuff that I found. But it's just been far more physically draining than I ever thought it would. At 6:30, so when I'm there from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., when I finally am finished at 6:30 and I eat, I'm falling asleep. Like, whether I want to or not, my body is just so physically tired that I cannot help it. And it's not like I can fall asleep and stay asleep. I wake up, for hours here or there or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it has been really, really hard. So that all being said, like, that's what I've been doing for the last week. And it has been kind of physically exhausting, right? So I have not been able to, first of all, I don't have time to make the videos. Second of all, you have to be well rested to be creative. You have to be in the mood to sit down. You have to have your mojo. You have to whatever to sit down and come out with new idea after new idea every day. And that is why it hasn't happened this week for 365 videos. Next week, I will get rested and I will get back on track. With the live sale stuff, nobody's been invoiced. I don't have anybody's money, and that will get done as well. And then after I get this super sale done, I will have to reassess where I'm at before I do any more live sales for the moment. I'm sure by the time the end of next week rolls around and everybody's invoiced and everybody's packed and everybody's shipped and I'm more caught up on videos, I probably will feel a lot better. But at this point, I'm just exhausted and I just need a little break. I don't know if I'm going to get one, but I just need a little one. Anyway, so that's the whole good, bad, and ugly of the week. I know you guys were asking how my week went and hoping that everything went well. And I wish that I could tell you, oh yeah, it's over and it was great. And then there's like which I'm not going to go on to like this whole long thing, but there's also the like, it's kind of, it's more emotional than I thought it was going to be, because it's not emotional from the sense of, so I thought, going through all of your mother who had passed away stuff, I thought maybe it might be emotional because like you might start thinking about missing her and that kind of emotion. And I didn't think I was going to get super like heavy bogged down in that emotion. And I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I definitely miss her and all that kind of stuff. But what it is more emotional about is just all of the, like, every little thing that is there. If you remember her having it, it has a memory tied to it. It has like, I remember her having this set of Pyrex bowls for like 40 years, 50 years, probably 50 years. I remember her having this set of Pyrex bowls, and she never ever used them. They were always sitting there in the cabinet. They were just there. You just saw them, right? We didn't use them. They weren't in the kitchen. It was just there. And they were brand new when she got them, and they're still brand new right now. And so like just every little thing that you can remember her having, or that you knew she had, because most of it we didn't know she had, it's just got lots of memories and stuff. And so like it has been a little emotionally draining from the aspect of deciding what you should keep, either for yourself or for your siblings or your dad or whatever. And also every time you have to make that decision of, well, I don't see any of us using it, I already have way too much stuff. Like, I just can't keep everything. And to me, it kind of feels like every time, and some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. Every time that you say that you're going to let something go, it's almost as if it has some kind of like negative feeling. Like, would she be upset with you for none of you guys keeping it? I mean, would she be happy? Would she be, I don't know. I think you guys who have done this, when you literally have to sort through all of your parents' belongings and you have to make those decisions to keep or to get rid of, at some point it's overwhelming. And there's a lot of things you can get rid of without like much emotion, right? Like you can get rid of the clothes, you can get rid of the shoes, you can get rid of whatever. But there's a lot of things that getting rid of when you have a memory attached to it, it almost feels like a little bit of betrayal. Maybe you guys don't get that, but for me, it's just getting to that emotional, like, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it was just going to be like cut and dry. Like, you don't need it. None of my sisters need it. None of my brothers need it. Okay, good. And now it's getting like, ooh, I kind of feel bad about that. Like, whatever. It is difficult. Well, at least some of you guys can sympathize with me. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about that. It just has been far more, I guess, maybe part of it is too getting exhausted, because I don't know how you guys are, but when I'm exhausted, I know that I'm a little bit more emotional than I would be if I was not exhausted. So maybe that's it too. But in any event, it will be done Sunday. My dad knows, because I have told him every single day that no, I cannot stay past Sunday. Sunday is the last day I can stay with you. After that, I need to go back to my life and back to my work and get stuff done, because I've told him that I put everything on hold, like, because he knows what I do. I've told him, that people are waiting on me and I need to go back because I need to do this for them too, So I think he gets it and all of that, but he's just going to have to figure it out and do that final little bit without me. And at that point, I'm not saying I'm just leaving him. I'm saying I have already found a company that he can use, who can come out and who can load things or whatever. I'm trying to find donation companies to take bits and pieces of it, because different donation companies take different sections of it. So I'm still doing it, but I will at least be doing it remotely instead of being there with him every single day. And I'm so sorry that you guys have had to do it too. It is hard. It's much harder than you think it's going to be. And I don't really get why it's so difficult, because it's just like stuff, but it's the memories attached to the stuff. But anyway, so with all that being said, I think you guys can understand why I'm not feeling super creative. I can sit down and we can make ephemera. That part is fine, but coming up with a new idea my brain's not up for that right now. I wish that it was, because that's a good escape for me. But this crafting session is also a good escape for me. So with all of that, let's get to it before I've talked for another hour. So let's start making ephemera. I am going to show you guys. We will have the memories, but what I was getting at is it almost feels like betrayal to, she kept it brand new because she didn't. So this, my mother in a nutshell is, if it was nice, she wanted to keep it nice, and that meant not using it. So we could have 18 sets of fine china, but we would probably only use one, right? Because you wanted to keep the other ones perfect. You wanted to keep the other ones nice, whatever. And so she kept it perfect for so long, and then no one treasured it after 50 years. Like, it just, anyway, it just feels a little bit like betrayal. I guess that's the best word I can think of it, for no one to appreciate it. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is go through the ephemera box, and I just have one of them in here from the 365 videos. I want to pull out the stuff that I've made for these journals, look at it. You guys can look at it with me if you want to know how any of it was made. If you didn't watch all the 365 videos, you guys can go back to those 365 videos to see exactly how it was made. Some of it still needs the final decoration, so we can work on some of that too. But I need to know how many pockets I have, how many journal cards, how many tags, if I have enough belly bands, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to flip the camera down. Right, Christina? I know. And I'm like that with a lot of things, but at the same time, using our things, I think, brings us so much more joy than just putting them in a cabinet and not using them. So I use my china for the most part, but I'm just saying, I don't know, kind of makes you wonder if at the end of the day, like, I know she was obviously thinking of a million other things, but it kind of makes you wonder if at the end of the day, was she happy she didn't use it, or did she wish that she probably would have used it and enjoyed it? Because you can't take it with you. You can't take any of it with you. So would you rather have just sat it there and looked at it for 40 or 50 years? Or would you have rather used it, and then of course something would have got broken, something would have worn out, and you would have had to replace it? But I don't know. So anyway, and then I think at the end her theory must have been, I need to buy 5, that way I can use one and still have 4. Because there was an awful lot of totes that had like 3 or 4 or 2 of something or whatever. And anyway, she wasn't a shopaholic that I knew about, and I don't think she really was, but what her plans were, I don't know. Because all of her children, I shouldn't say all, but most of her children, like, we weren't going to have babies, so why was there new baby clothes out there? Like, you just don't know. Maybe she was planning on just keeping, and some people do this, they keep a section for like gifts. And so maybe the baby clothes were just, in case she needed to give a gift, or, the neighbors or someone at church or whatever the case may be, right? Just, maybe she was keeping a section for gifts. And that's what I was trying to explain to my dad. Maybe that's why, Dad, don't get mad at her. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm flipping the camera down before I continue with this whole thing. Let's just flip the camera down and look at some pretty ephemera and make some pretty ephemera. So there's the top of the box. You can't really see too much there, but and then hopefully I can look at some chat while I'm over here too, because now I can read it. Okay, So so first of all, before we start that, this is the cover. This is how my cover ended up. It looks awfully fuzzy. Let me try to fix my camera real quick. Where are we at here? Yeah, it's trying to focus on this. So let's get it to focus there for a second. And let's turn this up to here. There we go. It's a little bit better. So this is the cover. I don't have a place to put this. This is the final cover. I put it, I shouldn't say final, but this is how the cover turned out. And while I'm not happy with this right here, I probably will come in and put another piece across here. There is going to be a topper. There is going to be a closure topper. This is the inside. And this cover was made out of a shipping envelope. So a 10 by 13 shipping envelope. I have a large pocket right here on this side, and that was the window of the shipping envelope. I have a top big huge pocket here. So there's that. Now you could have made side pockets so your journal cover might look slightly different. I went ahead and collaged both front and back of mine. In the inside, I know I'm going to have two large pockets that run across right here. And then of course we'll have that top pocket there. So that's how the cover came out so far. And then for ephemera, I think one of the last videos I did was these, because they're on the top of the stack. So I made these. We have three. I'm making 3 of these journals. So as long as I have 3 of everything or most things, we're good. I have only 2 of these. I don't have a third one. This one's loose because the top needs moved over. So there's 2 of those. I have 3 of these little guys. These were the recent videos. So I have 3 of those. Those are good. I have 3 of these. So there's those. I loved making these. These were super fun. I would love to do this again. There's that. So then we come here. I'm going to try to pull out a section without yanking out everything. We did make these. Now this is not, I don't know if it should go on. I don't think it will go in here. I didn't make it for this series. It was a video that I made. And so there's that one and there's this one. This one is definitely not for this series or this series of journals. This one, it could, but I don't think I'm going to. So those are a no's. There's 3 of these. And they all have little journal cards in them. So there's 3 of those. So 3, we have that. I'm missing 1 of these. Everything else has 3. There's 3 of these. So if we're going to make stuff, let's make things that I need. Okay, so for these guys, I know that we decorated 1 of the belly band things, but we did not decorate the other 2. So there's 1 for my idea book because I do not like this one with the black tape. This is the one that we decorated. And this is a belly band, and it kind of goes out like this, and then it goes out like this. So it's double-sided. Anyway, so I need to decorate the 2 of those. I'm going to put it in this pile because this is kind of like stuff I could work on. This is really, I'm just keeping this one for ideas. These are the bits that decorate part of those. I only have, maybe I do have more of these, but this was also an idea. And so it's tied up, but I think I only have 1 of these. So I might need to make more of those. It looks like I do need to make more of those. These are things, I rubber band everything tightly together. That way it kind of keeps it flat. So instead of putting it like under books or under your craft mat, if you have a big box of rubber bands, which this box of rubber bands comes from Amazon, and it's just a ginormous box of rubber bands. And so I have a million of them. And so for me, it's just easier to rubber band it together than it is to find a place to stick it. So anyway, we made master boards, and I made these little tags, and there's 3 little tags, 4 little tags. There's 1 pocket, 2 pockets, a journal card, another pocket, and then these ones are undecorated. So those I'm just going to stick there. And these all could be pockets and tags. So that can be played with. Then I have, this is undecorated. So both of these need finished. This was just an idea, and it's not for this series of journals. I mean, depending on how you're doing yours, but not for me. It'll be a different series. And so then I do have 3 of these. These were the bingo card guys. So altered bingo cards in their little pockets. Those are good. We have 3. Then we have digging. Then we have these. Are these? Okay. We made these for a video. Some of them are and some of them are not for this series. Like, I wouldn't mind sticking some in. I'm going to leave them for if I need them, they're here. They don't have to go in this botanical journal. Like you could see, they could, but they don't have to. They're a little more shabby, but I think it's okay to have some things that aren't super dark and grungy and stuff. And so I think they could. They could go in there, but they don't have to. So they're maybes. It's okay to have a maybe pile. And then what else do I have? I have no idea what this section is, but we'll find out together. There's a lot more ephemera in here. So this was an idea. It was a little ephemera wallet. That could be decorated. These could be decorated and put in here. There's 3 of those, but they would need work. This is the first one I made out of copy dyed paper. So sometimes when I'm making a prototype, I'll make it out of copy dyed paper, and that one will be for my idea journal. So there's that. That's idea journal pile is over here. This is idea journal. Okay, this was just a weekly time record that I just added some pockets to and put some little things in there. And there is only 1 of these, so I could make 2 more, but it's also okay to not have 3 of everything because I don't really need millions of things. This was also an idea, and it is made from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it just makes this little flip out pocket thing. I did make all the ephemera to go in it, so it's done, but there is only 1 of them. So there's that. There's also only 1 of these, and it is a glassine bag mini journal. So there's stuff in the pockets, and there's just all kinds of random fun papers. So this is definitely something we'll stick in the journals. And I'm just keeping it closed with a clip. And then we made these. These are little clusters with the tickets, my ticket digital. So there's those. This was tags. So I used the tag digital and the tickets and put the little bingo card in. So just a couple random pieces of ephemera. I didn't really need 3 of the same. These are the bookmark, over the page bookmark things. And I made, it looks like this one's for idea journal. I made 3. So we have 3 of those. And then we have this guy. He's a little mini folio, I think. He's just got copy dyed seam binding. And he's made out of envelopes. So he was made out of 3 envelopes. And again, he flips out and flips out. And he's all full of stuff, and he's decorated. He could use a little something something here, but that's him. So there's 1 of those. So some of this stuff you don't have to make 3, 3, 3, like if you're making 3 journals. 1 of these fancier, more kind of intense projects per journal is probably fine. And then we've got this guy. This guy is ledger page, and so I put the, striped ticking, that's copy dyed. And again, it's a little folio, goes like that, and it folds up. There's that guy. What else do we have? I think that might be it, guys. Everything, oh, nope, lied. There's these, and these still need a label right here. I don't know that I have a label, but there's these tags, and they need a label. I didn't really have too much pockets or too much tags. I had a lot of other type of ephemera pieces, like more involved ephemera pieces. How should I say that? More fancy, time-consuming ephemera pieces. And then I have some random ephemera, and then I have a bunch of blue ephemera because I still need to finish my blue journals. Somewhere I made, I have some ephemera apparently in the other room still too, because somewhere there is one of these envelope mini journals that I made, out of an old original letter envelope, and one of those is mushroom themed. So I do have another mini journal for one of the three. This is the blue one. So that video is out there, and I will have to find the one that I made for the mushroom journals. And everything else in this box is blue or more of like shabby chic looking ephemera that we've done in the 365 series. And I have altered playing cards. They were down here in the bottom. So altered playing cards, they could definitely go in for pieces of ephemera, but there's those. So we would definitely use him. Any of these really, like maybe not the roses, but we'll put them in this pile. We'll see. They could also be a tuck. So depending on whether I want it as ephemera, I still need to put coffee dyed paper on the back, but whether I want it as ephemera or a tuck, that would be fine. And I found these little offcuts, and these are meant to be journal cards for something in this pile. So I need to leave those in there, but that's where we're at. So we still need lots of ephemera because, you know, I have to make everything times 3. So we still need lots. Thank you guys for helping out there in chat. So I think we're good with these. They didn't really need finished, but we could make more of them. I mean, I could make, because I only have one of each of these, I could make more of those. Let's see where we get. So there's that stuff. Let me get this put back in this basket, and we're going to play with making ephemera and or decorating and finishing these. I really liked this project. It was super fun, and I kind of want to make some more of these. I know you guys also liked this project from the feedback that I've gotten from you guys, so maybe we will make some more of those if we have time. But anyway, that's where we stand. Hopefully you guys have been playing along and you also have a ton of ephemera, because it's really fun when you get done like sewing your signature in and you already have all the ephemera to just stick in. Like, depending on how much you like to decorate your journal, you could be done very soon. Because, I mean, it's piles and piles of ephemera. So anyway, I mean, I make everything in 3s, and I know, you know, most of you guys are not making 3 journals, but there was an awful lot there. Okay. So if this bucket doesn't fall off, I'll be good. And I need to put these back in something. Those can go right there. I think I need another ephemera box. Like, I need to make another big ephemera box and organize it. Like pockets in one area, tags in one, or maybe I just need a ephemera box for pockets and another ephemera box for tags or journal cards. Like pockets and tucks, like things you put things in, and then another box for things that go in the things you put things in. And I don't want to just say pockets because they're not all pockets. Okay, so there's that. We don't need this tonight either. I have only made one cover, so I still need to sit down, and I will do that off camera because it's something I really enjoyed, just taking my time and doing the collaging of the other 2 covers. So I've done it once on camera last Friday, and you guys don't need to sit here while I do it again. I will do it off camera so that, you know, you guys can, you know, you can spend time with me doing something you enjoy watching rather than me figuring out where to glue little squares of paper. Anyway, let's make something. I'm going to get my chair. I'm going to sit down and we're going to craft. I have been looking forward to crafting time this week. As you guys can imagine, I've missed you all. When I made those 2 videos that day, I was like, wow, like I really I miss them. I haven't hung out. I haven't been doing my 365 videos as much, and I really miss it. So I was super chatty that video or those videos. Just like I'm super chatty tonight. You did organizing by color, Sherry. That's a good idea too, because then you could, you know, like maybe I'll organize by theme because I work in themes more than I work in colors. But any way that works for you is a good way, right? Because everybody's brain works differently. So if doing it by color works, which I can see it would be helpful, that would be awesome. I'm going to do mine by themes, maybe. Because normally, if I'm being honest, like I do a series of journals and then it'll be a long time before I do something that's like mushroom appropriate. So maybe I will just put mushroom pockets in pockets. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it by theme. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I just know that I'd have more ephemera than I have space in my ephemera box for. Okay, so I have not been in my craft room all week. I literally turned the computer on for the first time since the other day since Monday, I guess. I don't know. When I made some videos. So let's get started making something. Who knows what? I have no plan. We need pockets. I did not see very many just like regular pockets. Maybe we can make the 2 larger pockets that go on the inside of the cover. I didn't measure that cover, but he should be, because it was 10 by 13 envelope. Each part of my cover, each half of my cover should be 6.5 inches wide. So that would mean I would want a pocket no larger than 6 inches. Maybe 5.5 would be even better, to go on the inside. So I wish I had the cover still over here, but I don't. So when you open up your cover, the inside of your cover, mine is going to have 2 large pockets there. And so one side can only be a normal, like, rectangle pocket. The other side, I have more flexibility because I could do a triangle pocket because there is nothing else on that side. Can I reach my cover? Where did I put my cover? Well, no, I cannot reach it. So we'll just go without. Let's make some pockets. Oh my gosh, you guys are getting it super annoyed very quickly. Do I have an ephemera box in here with like bits and pieces to make pockets with? No, I don't, but we'll figure it out. I need a piece of coffee dyed cardstock or regular cardstock, some kind of cardstock, so that my pocket, because they're on the inside of the cover, they need to be very durable pockets. So I need some kind of piece of cardstock to make them strong and sturdy. And then we will put down like a base layer of collage, and then we'll find a focal point. I did print out a lot more of the botanical flowers from my Etsy. And here are some more of those large envelopes that I made that project out of that I want to make more of. And here, no, is this cardstock? No, it is paper. Anyway, because we need 2 large pockets, I need something very sturdy so that my pocket on the inside of the cover, it's going to probably get the most use. When you put a pocket on the inside of a page, you're only seeing that pocket, you're only touching that pocket when you're opened to that page inside of the journal. I'm looking for cardstock, guys. Eventually I will find it. Or not, and I will go in the other room. I have scraps of like Tim Holtz cardstock. I just really need like a piece of plain cardstock, because you're not going to see the back side of it at all, because it's a pocket. All right, well, good plan. When you need cardstock and you have like a gigantic pile of papers to sift through, super fun. I would like them to be kind of deep pockets too, like maybe between 3.5 minimum to 4-inch deep pockets. And all I'm finding are offcuts of cardstock. I am not finding any regular cardstock. And I don't want pink. This is an offcut. Okay. These are all offcuts. These are offcuts. These are all offcuts of cardstock. Normally I keep the cardstock scraps in a different place, but nothing is organized, as you just saw, because it took me 10 minutes. So do we have anything here? Like maybe these are wide enough for pockets? I'm looking for about a 5.5 by 4 pocket. This one is not long enough. It is 4 3/4. But I could go this way with this section. Could go that way, and then that would leave us a nice little journal card over there too. So if I went 5.5, I think we're just going to do it because it's here. 5.5. And I think we'll save this part up here at the top, and we'll do 4 inches. So 5.5 by 4. That might be kind of too deep. Maybe I'll do 3 3/4. I like 3 3/4. 5.5 by 3 3/4. And I'm going to do that twice because I have two of the same scraps here, so might as well. And I would have tried to cut them together, but this cutter and I have a love-hate relationship, and it just depends on the day. So we're going to cut them individually. 5.5 by 3 3/4. So there's 2 pockets, and obviously these are the same pieces of scrapbook paper, so I wouldn't put both of these in the same journal. But again, because I'm making 3, we have 1 pocket basically. Let's find another piece of scrap cardstock to use for pockets, so we can just do both of them at the same time. All of these are small. 2 small little journal cards. This, I don't want to turn sideways. I mean, we have some nice journal card pieces in here. This guy would be great. This is a piece of Tim Holtz cardstock, I think. Oh, he's not quite deep enough. And this one is too blue. Okay, so we're going to need to cut some more cardstock. I don't really want bugs on my pocket, and I don't like the back side. So let me grab some more of the Tim Holtz cardstock, and let's do that. And yes, I did know there was some over here, but I also have this piece. And I have these. So the reason why I didn't pull these out is because these are very detailed. Like, I love this paper. I think this paper is beautiful. And I didn't want to, I'm going to adjust the lighting just one sec. I didn't want to use this because I think it's beautiful as it is. And I know that I'm going to collage on top of this. And I didn't want it to, I need to turn that back up. I didn't want it to cover up all of this lovely stuff on this paper. So I didn't want to use these ones. Although this is $49 in market and it's very thick and sturdy. Because you can see, like, if I made a pocket here, I wouldn't want to collage over top of it and cover it up. So anywhere I went, I wouldn't want to really add anything. I might be able to do like right here and collage over this mushroom part, but then you're just left with these. So I kind of find this paper, because it's so beautiful and I like it, hard to use because I need to get over cutting it up. I could do a pocket out of these. This would be actually a good one to use. So let's save that. And then there's these here. This is also a good one to use because it's just, this is that Craft Consortium paper. It's not my favorite, so, you know, you could see collaging on that. Let's make some pockets out of those. All of that to say, let's cut both of these and make some pockets. We need to have six pockets total. And again, you don't have to make them all the same size, but for me right now, I am. If I have extra ephemera at the end, I will just save it for the next journal. I will be doing a forest journal, which is different than field note, but I will be doing a forest journal later on in the year. That's 5.5. Maybe we will cut it. Maybe we'll do it 3 3/4 this way. 3 3/4 that way by 5.5. Leave myself a little square journal card. So there's another one. Let's do that again. Let's just repeat the process again. So now I have 4 pockets, and I need to get 2 more out of the green cardstock. And this is also $49 in market. It's from the Curator, what is this called? Curator's Meadow. I don't know. Let's cut it. I'm going to cut it this way. And I'm just going to cut this branding strip off in a minute. I'm going to go 3 3/4. And then the branding strip can come off. So now we'll have 6 pocket bases, and we just need to do simple collage. Very simple collage to decorate them. And these will be for the inside cover of my journals. 5 1/2 and 5 1/2. And then all of these long pieces, I have also a video, it's a 365 video, and it talks about making these into little tag charms. They're fun little bits and clusters also, but tag charms are usually what I use them for. Okay, so cutting is done. You have all of these fun bits to turn into ephemera also. And we're going to need some book page, right? Base layer of book page is always nice. Pockets for the inside cover. Pockets for the inside cover of your journal. And so I made if you're using the shipping envelope that was included in your kit, like I did for the cover of your journal, these go on the inside, front and left section of your journal cover. And so I'm making 6 because I have 3 journals, although I will only use 1 per design. So, either these 2 or these 2, but not 2 of the identical ones, if that makes sense. I know it's confusing when I make 6 all at once for some people, but anyway, we need book page. We need focal points. We need to decide if we want them both mushroom, if we want them something else. We need little collagey scrap bits. A pile of collagey scrap bits here. All of this lovely stuff to play with. Scraps and scraps and scraps. Okay. So here's some book page and here's some book page. And I'm going to lay these out and we're just going to work in pairs. Okay. So you're going to see me make all 6. You guys can make 6 along with me. They don't have to all be this big because 5 1/2 was to fit the cover size. If you want to make pockets that fit the pages, yes, a 5 1/2 will technically fit on there, but it's too tight. If you're making them for pages in the journal, like 8 1/2 by 11 sheets of regular paper, you want to make them about 4 1/2 wide. Okay, so if you're making them for pages, make them smaller than what I just made for the cover. I'll throw that out there. Okay, so we're getting some collage base down. I really like this with this, so let's kind of put this guy on that. Let's go the other way with this one and throw him on there. Easy, easy. Okay, where are glue sticks? You can tell I haven't been in this room. I have no idea where my own things are. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to getting back to normal. It has been fun. Do I want to go on this side with it? Yes. Let's go on this side with it because there's more handwriting. I think you guys can see it. There's more handwriting in this area, and this area is really plain. So let's go it that way. So we're going to go like that, and let me tear this at a better angle now that we're going at the other side. I just want to get back to normal. I mean, it has been, don't get me wrong, it has been kind of, I won't say fun, but it's been interesting spending every day with my dad because it has been a long time since I've spent this much time with my dad. And I love my dad. However, I didn't realize how old man he had became. That's the nicest way I can say it. And I'm teasing, I'm joking, right? It just because your dad as a kid is very different than your dad as an elderly person. And he does things that you hear about, other people's older parents doing, and it's like you didn't realize your own parent was like that. You didn't realize that your own parent was I don't know, he was watching something about a cure. So he was on Facebook or something. I don't know where he was, somewhere on the internet. And he was watching something about a cure for blood sugar. And he doesn't have diabetes and he doesn't have blood sugar. So I don't know why he was caring about it, because he doesn't have high blood sugar. His blood sugar is normal. And so I was wondering, like, why does he even care about this? I don't know if he was just bored or what, or if he really has concerns. So I asked him, I said, do you have high blood pressure? Do you have diabetes? I knew he didn't, but so I asked him. He says, no, no. And I'm like, okay, so why were you watching it? Whatever, And he's like, well, because, it says it's a cure for it's a secret cure that the drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know about. And so I wanted to know what it was. And he's like, I watched this video for 34 minutes and it did not say how to cure, what this secret cure was. And I'm like, well, where did you see this video at? And he's like, I can't remember if he said Facebook or where he said, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I've seen that little pop-up ad thing. Like, it's not a pop-up, but it's one of the ads that's on Facebook or something. And I said, I've seen it. I didn't watch it longer than it took me to scroll it off of my screen. And I said, I don't think that that's real. I think that that's like a fake thing. And he says, well, could you try to watch it for me? Because I want to know what it is, and it doesn't seem to ever tell you. And I'm like, you watched it for 34 minutes and it didn't tell you. It's probably not ever going to tell you. And I'm like, so what is it again? And he's like, it's the Robert RFK Jr. talking about a cure, because you know how he's like all into health things, I guess, RFK. And he said it's a cure for high blood sugar, and he promises to tell you what the cure is. It's like something that you can do in 7 seconds before you go to bed every night that's going to cure your high blood sugar. And I'm like, Dad, I don't think that there is anything that you can do in 7 seconds that's going to cure anything. And he's like, well, can you please just try watching it for longer than 34 minutes? And is there a place I'm supposed to click? Am I missing something? And I'm like, no, Dad. Like, I'm not going to watch this for 34 minutes. B, you don't have high blood sugar. C, I promise you this is a scam. This is an advertisement. This is something. Have you guys seen it? Do you guys know what he's talking about? Anyway, so, and I feel bad for like telling him like, no, I'm not going to watch this. But at the same time, like, I'm sure there is nothing you can cure in 7 seconds before you go to bed. But he was just like insisting that there was some cure for something. And so I'm like, okay, show me what it is. And so he shows me, I again don't know where, shows me something on his laptop. And I'm like, Dad, did you click on this thing where it says like click right here? And he's like, no, no, let's click it. And I'm like, no, 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 we're not clicking. You don't click on things. I just want to know if you clicked on it. And he's like, no, I don't think so. Maybe that's how you find out what the cure is. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to let you do this because I'm sitting right here next to you. But I'm like, just so you know, you're not supposed to click on things when you're on the internet, right? I found some little labely pieces we'll use here in a minute. We need another layer here. So I said, go ahead and click it and let's see what it tells you. And sure enough, he clicks it. And of course, because we knew it was going to, it tells you enter your credit card information. And then, they will give you the cure to this if you enter your credit card information. And I'm like, see, Dad, I'm telling you, it's not real. They just want your credit card info or whatever. I said, so this is why we can't just go like clicking on things. I said, if you know how they said, like, for a long time, many everyone knows this, right? If it sounds too good to be true, then it is. So I said, if you just kind of in the back of your mind tuck that away, and when you're out there browsing on the internet, which I wish you would not be doing, but if you are, if you hear of something and it sounds too good to be true, just remember me telling you this, that if it sounds too good to be true, your mom probably told you the same thing. Like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I said, so let's just tuck that away and keep that in the back of your mind. And he's like, I still want to know how to cure your high blood sugar in 7 seconds. And I'm like, okay, Dad, what do you want for lunch? And that was as far as I could go with. And I don't know what it is. It's like you didn't realize how old your parents were getting or something. I don't know. And I'm sure not everybody is like that, but it was kind of an interesting afternoon. Oh my goodness. Poor guy. And so I think I've already told you guys before things he's asked me. One time he called me and he asked me, how do you send a wire transfer? And I'm like, Dad, why are you sending a wire transfer? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? And he's like, there's my dad likes old cars, and he's like, there's this guy and he's selling this car and it's a really good price and he only will take a wire transfer. And I'm like, what? Before I lose it, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, there's this guy and he's selling this car. And I'm like, well, how did you meet this guy? Is this a guy that you know, like a friend of yours? And he's like, no, he was on like Facebook or something. I don't know what. And I'm like, no, Dad, you're not sending a wire transfer. he just he does these things, right? And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. He does these things. So you've watched them. There's some pill that they formulated and you have to buy. That's what I'm saying. It was something like that. They want your credit card information. That's what I was trying to show him, but he still does not. I don't think he fully understands that. So he is from a generation where you could not lie on the internet. First of all, you didn't lie at all, really. But the number of people in this world who were willing to lie was far less. And if it was on the internet by like, a reputable, or I won't say reputable, I'll say large company like Facebook, surely, because he tells me, surely Facebook would not allow them to be lying and scamming people. And I said, Dad, things are different now. Like, I don't think Facebook knows what people post on there. I don't think there's anybody authenticating stuff. And I said, if there is, then they know about it and they do not care because we all see it every day. And I'm like, so things are different now. You can't just trust people like that. You can't, you watch the news, you see that people are being scammed and stuff. I said, you can't just trust people with what they say. You can't, it's different mentality than when you were younger and honesty was good and important. And I said, it's still good and important, but there are a lot of people in this world who, they don't go by those same values. And so, and a lot of it is companies that are not even American. Like it's people, it's not even companies, it's people, scammers from other countries, whatever, because, you hear about them on the news, and sometimes it's like dating apps and things like that where they meet people and they think that they're talking to a boy or a girl or whatever, and it ends up being a completely different, like, you can think that you're meeting a girl online and you're chatting with her and whatever, and it's a guy in a foreign country who's trying to get your bank accounts. We see this stuff on the news, right? So it happens. But it's just different times, and I think it's hard for him to accept that it's just like that, and that large companies like Facebook and whatever, they're not there to protect you. They don't care, or they don't see it, or whatever the case may be. So anyway, spending this whole entire week with him made me a little bit concerned about things. So I did have some conversations with my sister about making sure um, he doesn't have more money in an account than he just needs to pay his bills, which he doesn't really need to know that we're doing that to him, but that's what's happening. So anyway, with that being said, we did a little bit of French. This is actually dictionary or encyclopedia, one or the other. I did a little bit of this super old, kind of grungy, handwritten 1600s book page. And I've done these out of, if you got a kit, you more than likely have this in your kit. Little, kind of like, it's a craft colored graph paper. And so I'm going to use that in place for a label, or a place to put a label, like a label, you put the label on top centered in it. And so we have this going. We need to start thinking about focal points, and I need to put some thumb notches in. And I'm sure many of you guys have gone through this with your parents too, or you have a friend or a neighbor who has maybe even been scammed, or that you helped protect from getting scammed. And it's just a different world, you know? And it's really sad that this kind of thing is so, prevalent, that all of us have been touched in one way or another by it. And it's just really sad. I tried doing two and it worked. It doesn't always on the 49 and market paper because it's so thick. Yes, that too. Or like even like if you want, because you know how like some apps are really hard to use, and if you're my age, you probably want a phone number to call, right? Like I know young people don't really use their phones for calling, so they don't look for customer service phone numbers. But if you're looking for a customer service phone number, you have to be careful. You can't just search on the internet for a customer service phone number anymore, because some of those customer service phone numbers are scammers, and they will steal your stuff, right? There was a lady not that long ago on the news, and she was talking about she wanted help with her Facebook account, and she looked online for a 1-800 number for Facebook, which we all know they do not have this, right? But she did not. She thought surely it's a big company, they have to have customer service phone number. Well, she found a phone number somewhere, and sure enough, they were scammers. And the first thing they do is ask you for your account and your password, and so she gives it to them. And then she doesn't have a Facebook account anymore because these people have taken her Facebook account. And then they commit crimes and things like that, with fraud, whatever, with it. So it happens all different kinds of ways. And it's just really sad that we have come to this point of it. And I don't care who, is in the White House. I hope that they can fix this, because a lot of the elderly people are becoming victims of this. And it's unfortunate that we are allowing it just to be out there like that. I mean, who would have thought that we just allowed this stuff out there? And maybe it's just the Facebook's too big to like weed it all out or take it down fast enough. I'm sure that's part of it. But anyway, it's just very sad. Okay, so we've got this going. We need to start thinking about like our final focal point. I was wondering if I wanted to put some tickets in there. It might be nice to cut out a couple of tickets, whether we use them on these pockets or we don't. I think I'm going to cut these ones out. So I'm going to cut this little striped kind of mustard colored one here. So there's that. And this can just go in the back behind our focal point. I don't know what I'm going to put. I'm thinking mushrooms on these ones, just because I like the way that it all looks together with mushrooms. But let's see. Maybe we'll put a ticket back there also. And then do I have another ticket on here? Like I like this green one, but unfortunately it's too close to that green. Let's maybe do these two here. So at least I have 3 tickets cut out. My dad was telling me all kinds of stories. Like the dad jokes. That was definitely happening this week. Kind of funny. So yes, it has been good spending time with him. However, it has also been like eye-opening about, how much longer can he live there by himself? I don't know. I would like to think that he could live there forever by himself, but there are some concerns. Yeah, some concerns for sure. Yeah, I see some of you guys doing all the same kind of things, going through the same things, and I think this is just how it goes. I guess I just, was a little bit naive in thinking that we were not quite at this point yet, but maybe we are, maybe we're not. I don't know. maybe we're just getting closer, and it's never a bad thing to plan ahead, right? So I have this mushroom, but he's going to be too big on there. I think these guys are the right size. So in the Mushroom Digital, there is a page of little journal cards, and you can print them like this is the full page. You can print them smaller or larger than this if you want, but these ones look like about the right size for these pockets. So let's do these mushroom, and then let's do the other one something else maybe, because I don't want two mushroom pockets back to back. I think this little like brown capped guy would be good. Maybe these ones, I'm not sure. Or maybe we should do this red one down here. Let's do this red one. These are about the size of playing cards as they are. And I don't know if when I printed these, because you know how on your printer settings, my printer or my computer has two different settings and for just general quick printing. One of the settings is kind of like enlarged, slightly enlarged. I don't know what it's called, fit to page or something like that. And if you have that box checked, then it slightly enlarges whatever you're trying to print. And so sometimes if that box is checked, the digital can print off the page on the edges. So if you're ever printing something, either my digital, somebody else's digital, whatever, and it's printing slightly off the page, make sure that that setting is not checked because it's fit to page and that basically enlarges it. In your printer settings, there's also settings for um, a slight enlargement when it prints. Most printers will print things automatically slightly enlarged. If you've ever tried printing like on a label, sometimes it will print perfectly and sometimes it will print not aligned correctly. And it's usually because one of those things is checked in your printer settings. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it talks about slightly enlarging the print when it prints it. And so if you ever have problems, you have to look in your exact computer settings, but make sure that that first thing where it says print to, what is it called? Print to fit the paper size or something like that. It makes it go off the edge a lot, and I don't like that. So I can't tell you if this size is the actual size of the digital or that. Was my whole point with that. There's that guy. He looks cute. I'm happy with that. And let's do this guy. And I might need to change which pocket these go on, but anyway, these are fairly small. Again, we had what do we have? A 3 3/4 inch tall pocket. So these little mushrooms are fairly small. They're perfect for decorating playing cards, like altered playing cards. And I decided to be a little more fussy with the fussy cutting and going around the root little area here. They each have little mushroom roots. It's kind of like the Spanish moss stuff that you use in floral decorating. I think it looks more earthy and nice down there. So there's those. And I will ink around them, and any white that is left will kind of blend away. And I printed, and somebody was asking in the Facebook group, another thing that has been neglected is Facebook group. Somebody was asking today, in fact, what paper to print the digitals on. And I have said this many times, and I will say it again. The paper that I use to print digitals on is a 28-pound Hammermill premium color copy paper. 28-pound is that perfect sweet spot. I think 20-pound is way too thin for even collagey things. I mean, that would be the only thing I would even think about using it. 20-pound is pretty thin paper. 24-pound is better, but 28-pound is my favorite. And 32-pound is nearly too thick, in my opinion. I would not use 32-pound for signature pages because it would bulk them up too much. But for printing something where you were going to glue it down and you just wanted something nice and sturdy to cut, because the thickness of the paper makes fussy cutting easier or harder. If the paper is very, very thin, it can be easier for some things, and it also can be harder for other things to cut out. But the 28-pound paper, it's sturdy enough, it's not just flopping over. So I think it's a little easier to cut out, 28-pound paper also. It's that perfect sweet spot, I think. So if that person is here, there's what paper I print on. And I should be inking this on a piece of paper, but I'm just inking it up here in the air. Trying to blend in some white. So I will get in the Facebook group. I don't know. I will try to do it before I go to bed tonight. But honestly, when this video is over, I'll probably fall asleep because I'm dead tired. I even had to have coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon today, which I never do because I knew I would not make it through this craft with me session without coffee. So let's kind of play with these. If we've got something going on, I think I want this one over here with this brownish color ticket. Do I or don't I? Nope, I guess we're doing it like that. And then I'm going to save this ticket for another piece of ephemera later. But let's collage this the rest of the way and glue it down. So right now, the only thing that's glued to my pocket is that back book page. And we just need to make a little cluster of this. So the same process that you would use to make an actual cluster. I need to cut out this little hole right here, and I don't really have anything to punch it with. This hole punch is slightly too big. Do I have a pokey tool in here? A sharp pair of scissors, perhaps? Because this is a smaller little circle than what our, this would be great for the crocodile. It's a smaller circle than what your page hole punch will do. So I'm just going to cut it out. Do I need to be this fussy? No, I probably could have just inked it because it is a brown ticket. But if I cut it out, at least it is a hole. There we go. And now I will ink up the little parts that I couldn't get. But at least it's a hole now. But the crocodile has two different size hole punches. And it has a smaller one that is great for these smaller holes like that. Okay, so there's that. I really love this as a cluster right here, and I would love to just stick it on there. But we have this ticket. And I do think it needs something over in this area, so I think we're going to go like this. The little ticket still needs inked around. I can see that that did not get inked around, but everything else is. So let's quickly ink those and get those down. And then it only took us 2 hours to make 2 pockets. I'm teasing, but it has taken a long time. All of my storytelling takes up time. There's that. Anyway. Well, I hope that you guys are going to have a great weekend. I'm going to finish this job with my dad. And it has come to my attention that, yes, I have, in the recent month, let many family obligations interfere with what we do here. And I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, I would not have told either of my daughter or my dad no. So I do want to say thank you guys for being patient with me while I deal with these two issues, my daughter getting married and my dad. But I am also very, very lucky in the fact that you guys support me and that you guys are okay with me taking time to do this stuff with my family. And obviously, I would never tell them no because I'm just not that kind of person. Like, I have a hard time telling strangers no. I surely have a hard time telling my daughter no for her wedding, especially, or my dad no when, he's trying to deal with the stuff of my mom's. And I'm sure it's hard for him. Like, he's not the kind that shows emotion. So, I mean, all men probably don't, but he's not the kind that shows emotion about, it being hard about, this was my mom's stuff and, all that kind of stuff. He's not really emotional like that. But I'm sure it is hard for him. I'm sure at the end of the day when I leave, it is also hard for him. And so I'm really glad that I'm able to help him, first of all, because you guys let me help him second. You guys, other than the few people who threw a fit, for the most part, 99.9% of you guys are totally supportive and good about it, nice about it. The couple people who aren't, I have apologized and I have been nice about it, and now I'm just over it. And so whatever happened with that. But the only way I could help them is because I knew you guys are good people, and you understand, and you know that it's not something I chose to do. It's not something I was like, oh, this sounds fun, let's go do that. No, I mean, for my daughter's wedding, yes, of course it was kind of fun, but different situation than what I'm doing now. This really needed to tuck back there, and I doubt that I'm going to be able to get it back there now. I'm going to try. We'll see. A little bit. Um, but I just want to say thank you guys, because I couldn't do it without you guys. I couldn't, you know, do it without those of you who are good and who support me and who understand. Like, if you're one of the oldest daughters of your family, then you probably get what's happening. My brothers and sisters just, they just don't want to come help me. They don't have the same sense of obligation that I have. And I can't explain why I have such obligation. I don't know why. Sometimes I wish I could just be like, I'm busy, but I can't. I've never been that way with any of my loved ones. And I don't want to be. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, there's times I think that it must be nice to not feel like you have to do something because it's the right thing to do, right? But anyway, I digress. I know, being the oldest girl in a family is very different than being like the youngest child in the family. I think it's just different. I'm going to have to use art glitter now because this paper's too fragile to put back on that way. That's okay. Anyway, thank you guys for being patient with everything. Don't tell me this glue is clogged. Here we go. Kinda, sorta. You guys are patient, you're understanding, you're okay with keeping your money a little longer and knowing that all of your stuff is still here and good. And besides all of that, you guys are okay with waiting for 365 videos and being just patient in general, listening to me moan and groan about all the things. But it has been one heck of a 30 days with my daughter getting married and all of the terrible things that happened with that. But at the end of the day, she was happy. She had a great wedding. And at the end of the day, my dad will be happy because this will be taken care of. And it's something that's beneficial for our whole family because the glue kind of showed through there. It's something that'd be beneficial for our whole family because then now this is taken care of. Can you imagine if my dad also passed and left all of this stuff for everyone, my brothers and sisters and me to take care of? That would be hard because he would have just passed and we'd be selling his house and having all this stuff there. So all the way around, this was the right thing to do and take care of it. There's that pocket. It's lovely. I did cover up this little bit just with collaging it, and I left open this little area right here to put a label in if I find one. I'm going to look through a bin over here. So what I mean is, can I find one quickly? Not really. But what I want, not this, but a label that's around this shape and put right here. I left a little place where you would put a small little label right there if I want to, but I left it open. Here's a better label, maybe. Not this shape, but something small in that area right there. All right, let's get this other one done. Youngest. I guess it happens both ways. I was just thinking it was the oldest children because my youngest siblings, they're very different than me. They have a different sense of responsibility. I don't know. I think that's kind of common for a lot of them, but this paper is very fragile because it is so old. This one here is different than, it's like a damaged piece from the 1600s book. There was a section in the back that was very fragile, and that's why I was using them for collage. See, it just tore. It's getting wet from the glue stick. No big deal. We can stick it down. It's just unfun things. I mean, the wedding is. I'm not talking about that, but the unfun thing about having to deal with the leftover estate bits. That's not fun. I need to piece this piece of paper back together. And apparently I'm missing a section. And it's rolling and folding and every other thing. That's all good. It's just going to be what it's going to be right there. Okay, so we're going to stick this on and this mushroom here and here. And I did forget my ticket again. But in this case, it's a good thing because I do need to cover that up. So this time it's going over top of the handwriting. All right, let's go ahead and put that ticket on so I get it on. Just, I guess, part of getting older is having to deal with your parents' things. I'm leaving these tickets overhang a little bit so I can trim them off. And this was a very simple, basic pocket, but you know, it's a nice large size, the one that can go in the front cover. And so we're going to do this, and he does have a little tear there. I'm just going to roll this paper right off right there and leave it. It's just worn. I'm going to roll it off a little bit more. It's just worn. There we go. A little more rustic looking than what I intended, but it will still work. So Monday I'll be back to normal, hopefully. I'll be tired and I'll be at least like getting to do my normal things and getting back into the habit of making the videos every day. And I watch them, you know, in the minutes I'm sitting where, you know, I don't have something to do. I'm waiting on somebody for something or whatever. I was watching the YouTube video that uploaded just recently, and I was like, oh my God. Do you ever hear, like, for those of you that make your videos, do you ever hear the sound of your own voice and be like, goodness, I didn't realize I was so annoying? That's what I thought when I was watching my own videos this week. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so annoying. I don't know. I think everybody hates the sound of their own voice, right? On camera or on tape recorder. That's what I was seeing. A day of laying on the couch, it won't help anything. I'll just get further behind. So I don't want to lay there because I'll just get further behind. I have these little labels right here. These ones are like little microscope slide labels. They look like they would go at like, they're just tiny little labels, but they look like they would go on the ends of microscope slides to identify the specimens. And so you could do one of those. Maybe this one would go here. You could do one of those right there. It's about the right size, and I like the overall look. So that one's good, but we need one for this guy. I mean, the wrong color. One more little piece and we're done with these two, and I can move on. I don't think we want to do that one, but maybe. I need a larger one like that. Maybe this yellow guy. He blends in a lot, but I do like him. I don't know what this pack is called. It's a Tim Holtz little pack of labels, and they're very, very small. I don't know if it's discontinued or if it's current. We recently all fell in love with something that I found in my craft room, and it came to be where it was like a retired pack, and everyone was looking for it. Okay, what about this guy? Here's two right here. Let's use one of these. I can put these ones back. There's all these little oval ones though. For little labels, this is a super cute little pack. And I don't use this very often because it's very sciencey looking. So it's perfect for the field note journal, but it's not like, there's not shabby chic labels in here or whatever. So let's see about this guy. Blends in, and this guy. That guy's pretty good. We could use that. This guy. Okay. Let's do it. Inking. Am I hydrating? No. I'm very dehydrated. It's still a lot of sun, and I made the mistake of one of the very first days thinking, because I don't know, I'm stupid, I guess. I thought that, and it doesn't make any sense at all, but I did it. I got way too sunburned one of the very first days because it was early in the day, like early in the morning, and I just didn't realize that I had been out in the sun as much as I had been. And so I got very, very sunburned one of the very first days I was there. And then, of course, once you're sunburned, A, it hurts, but B, it's just more sensitive to the sun the whole entire time. And you have to hydrate a lot more, not only your skin, but your body because you're sunburned, right? And so one of the first days I got sunburned. And then one of the second or third days, I got really dehydrated and I needed to drink a lot of water because I got a massive headache and very high blood pressure. And that typically is how I know I'm too dehydrated. But I drank some liquid IVs and I have water sitting next to me I'm supposed to be drinking right now, but I'll drink it later. I'll drink it later. And let's tie all of this together here with this guy. So he touches this whole little line and this whole line and he ties it all together. It would be great if he was straight, but that's good. So, okay, I'm calling these done. This is what we just made. I'm not happy with this right here, but that's what happened. So I've just left it. It is what it is. It's a little more rustic. I can let this dry just a little bit and try to rub off a little bit more, but that's what it is. And they're going on the inside covers of one of the journals, not both of them together, one of them with another pocket over here. Okay. So I have 4 more of these. I don't know that I want to make any more at the moment, but when I do make them, I will make these guys different. I don't think I will use mushroom. It's begging for a mushroom. This one, I think we could use anything on. It's a very blank canvas. So I'm going to leave these for now, but these are the ones for the inside cover of my journal, and I have an extra ticket cut out. So let's move on to making something else so I don't bore you guys too much. Let's see. Let's move those over there to the done pile or the nearly done pile. And let's play with this little fun bit that I have over here. Let's just make something. Even just some plain tags would be good. I have some offcuts of rice paper. Let's see what else is in this little pile to play with. I know what I want to do. This I've glued multiple layers together and it's thick and this has been floating around for probably a month and I cannot figure out what to do with it. I mean, yes, I know I can make a pocket or a tag, but it doesn't seem like the right thing to do with it. So we're leaving it. And now we're going to play with these and make these into tags. So I have 2 of them. They need to be made into tags. They're just offcuts of Tim Holtz scrapbooking paper. And we're going to make them into tags. I'm glad that you guys are off to a great start to your weekend. It's awesome. I hope that you guys have nice weather where you live. Like I said, it's been really nice temperature wise, but it has been super windy as well. And I really need to focus on cutting tags. But it's been really windy for a couple of days too. And it's kind of got my allergies going because it's so windy. It kicks up all the dust and dirt and pollution and everything like that. And it's got my allergies going crazy. Okay, so this is very, very busy. We need to tone this down with some collage. I want hints of it in the background, but I don't want it to be so overwhelming like it is right now. It's actually got text behind it and some botanical illustrations. So because we have text and illustration, we're going to need some handwriting and some music. So if we use whatever you have in the background, you don't want to use more text. I mean, you could, it's not terrible, but since there's already text, I want to use something other than text. And since there's already kind of botanical illustration, I'll stay away from more black and white and I'll go color just for change. I want something different so it stands out more. And so I'm looking for some music paper, and we have some of that, little bits and pieces. Even this on here wouldn't be terrible. It's handwriting, and there's more handwriting and more music. So let's get this music layer done first. Lest we use music for the accent and handwriting. I need some of this this paper. This is nice handwriting, and it's a good color for both of these. It's kind of white, where this is a very dark, kind of grungy look. And so I think it will stand out nicely. And if I don't use that, we have Ledger. I'm just trying to use scraps right now. Ledger would be okay, but I think I like this better. So let's go with this. This is an 1800s antique document handwritten from Spain. And I like this side. So let's use this side. And if we look at these tags, we can see that we have more botanical up in this area. So we'll want our handwriting to kind of focus in this area. We'll kind of keep it down lower so we can still see all this lovely in background. So again, here we'll keep it down low in this section where my hand is covering it so we can still see all of that up there. So let's do that. Let's kind of tear it like this. And we're going to look at putting this one kind of in this area. So it has a kind of deckled edge top to it, and all I need to do is kind of bear down here to get the white off of it. And I need to rough this up a little bit, but that's about the right width there. And so that looks pretty good in that area. That's good. And then for here, again, focusing down in this section, more on the left on this one, and covering that section up. So for that, I've got this side. Yeah, we're going to have to flip it on this side, and we're going to go right here. And again, roughing up the top. That's too wide. These little bits, they're perfect for clusters. Just put it in at the end. And that's about perfect to cover up that area. So there's those. Uh-oh, bad weather. We are blessed that we have some pretty nice weather here most of the time. And I hear so many bad storms and tornadoes and things like that. And it's super scary to me because, I've never lived anywhere where we've had to experience that. And it's so heartbreaking. Just really, a lot of prayers for the people who have to live through stuff like that. And, you can't help where your family is and from and all that, so it's just so, I don't know why it needs to happen all the time. I mean, I know it's Mother Nature, but still. Let's go ahead and get these base layers down, and then let's ink around and see where we're going to place this music. So here's this. And let's get those on. So we're just generally making ephemera, whatever's on my desk. If you guys want me to finish something I've already started from the other pile I showed you guys in the beginning, we can do that too. I need to make the other two belly bands, but those take quite a while to find all the little pieces to collage on. And this one I kind of just put down the center, right like this. And here's this one. My glue stick's getting super unruly. It's got glue on all the sides. And I have paper stuck to the ends of my fingers. That's a good crafting day when you've got paper all over your fingers and glue. And so we're going to go right like that. Filling in there and filling in there. And so there's that. All right, so those two. Now we have everything super, super neutral so far. I know that I'm going to add one of those pretty colorful botanical flowers right there. So that's why I've kept it, you know, super black and white basically. And we have music. The music will be kind of like our little label section. So let's go ahead and find some larger, taller flowers to use. And I did print some on the rice paper that are larger, like all of these guys here. I printed a big pile of rice paper the other day. I don't know, now it seems the other day, but it was at least before before Friday of last craft with me. So we have some large ones that are colorful that we can definitely put in there. So let's focus on those and these. Some scraps of rice paper. So these are two that are large. And I have been really wanting to use this guy right here. I love this one. And that blue one. Got several favorites to use. Let's cut these out. So I'm going to attempt to go with this guy. For right now, I'm just doing a rough cut, and then I'll come back in and get the individual flower out in a second. There's that one. And I want to see what this tall blue one looks like. Has anyone tried printing these flowers on rice paper yet? Because I think they're super fun. Super fun to print on rice paper and super fun to cut out on rice paper, because rice paper you can just tear it by pulling it through the scissors, kind of like napkins when you use the water thing to tear them. I'm not saying you could use that on rice paper, but I am saying it's super fast and easy, and you don't have to worry about being too fussy with the fussy cutting because it has like a antique or vintage color background around it. So you're never going to see anything. There's that. We'll cut out this section here. And there's that one. I didn't know if I needed to cut this, and now I do need to cut this. So I'm going to go in here and just get out this middle section right here. Perfect. And then this guy. Here we go. Very good. Very good. Love that. And let's see about this guy. He's like long and a long stalk with a big blue, like kind of bottle brush looking flower. I don't know if these are hyacinths or what these are, but I did this off camera, but this is what I was talking about. Like I'm not cutting, I'm pulling and tearing, and it's kind of fun. You can see if I can go this way. And so now I'm trying to find some donation places to donate things to for my dad. And there's the blue one. The blue one I don't love as much because the blue flower is getting lost up here in all that black and white, whereas the colorful part of this flower is down on the white. Now I could move it down, but it's pulling it kind of low. So knowing that now, maybe I will choose a different flower that has more flowery bits at the bottom. All of these are kind of tall stems. I could move possibly this yellow one down. I don't love it. I really just love this one. So I'm thinking about just cutting out another one of those. I could move it down, but let's see what I have. I have this one. Let's cut into this sheet and do these ones. This one here with all of these kind of pinky red flowers. Don't worry, I'll use that blue one here in a second. It'll be faster with the cutting. Yeah, I found my sister's first baby doll, the one that she had, you know, her very first baby doll. Found that in a box. That was super fun. I told her and she's like, I didn't even know that kind of stuff was out there. And I'm like, I didn't either. It's been kind of fun to find certain things for them. My sister was looking for these Asian lamps that she remembered my mom having. And for a long time, I couldn't find them. And then one day, I opened up a box and there they were. So I've been finding all kinds of treasures for them. And of course, you know, I found, you know, this or that or whatever that I remembered and kept it too. And that was kind of fun. But now I have to put it all away and I don't know where to put it. So I think we're going to do that. I have enough of the color flower on the white, and I think the red is bold enough where I'm okay up there. So let's talk about this little area here and here. I want to put some music there and then maybe put a label on top if I feel it needs it. We have this music here, and this is a great little section down here. I'm just going to kind of tear it into a better shape. Let's try to get that in there. And I think that's perfect. It does have some words, but the words is right where I will come in and put another label over that, and you'll just have music above it and music below it. So I think we'll use that there, and we'll just cover up the word part of it. So there's that one. And then for this guy here, I dropped my glue stick. This guy here, we just need a small little bit. Let me see if this is big enough. Possibly, but it does have a straight edge on that side, so I think we'll go this way. And we need to tear this little point off. So I just used some very small little scraps. Very small little scraps right there. Good. Okay. So we have our text on the actual cardstock itself. We have that backgroundy print back there, which just adds more visual interest. Yes, it is very botanical. I don't care. I love it. And then we have these bits. Now, you might have wanted to add, because we have like white handwriting and kind of white, a little bit white back here, white here. It may have looked nice with something warmer, but I think that's where the label will come in and be warmer to kind of help with that situation. Then up here at the top, I have a plan as well. So let's get those glued on. Habitat for Humanity for building materials, but this stuff is more household goods. Unless Habitat for Humanity takes it, but I'm not sure. I thought Habitat in my area, what I see Habitat taking is excess building materials. Like when people remodel and stuff like that, they'll donate like a sink or something like that. That's what I see them doing here, but I haven't really looked into it. So there's that. Very nice. And I love how that rice paper will blend away. I love that. There's that one. And I should have put this down first, but I did not. We were looking, because there's a lot of new there's bins of new toys and children's clothes. And so we were looking at somewhere that would take that. And I think I found there's a charity at one of the local schools, and they will take it and then distribute it to needy families. And so I think that will work, but that's only a portion of it. So there's that. And then this time I'm definitely putting this on first. And I didn't ink these, and it probably is a good idea, so I will attempt to on this one. And coming in on this one, I think I can get the edge. Yep. If you're careful, you can kind of peel it back and just get the edge that's sticking out. There we go. This chunk of glue. And I was trying to explain to my dad about tax write-off. And he's like, what? I'm like, never mind. I'll handle it. It's okay. It's so funny. Uh-oh. I knew that was going to happen. I could see it coming. It's all right. We'll piece it back together. It's that section where I just had to cut out that middle area. So we're going to glue on the bottom first. I don't know where. Somewhere in this area. And then we'll glue on the top. So I am really like in the mood to do some mixed media things. And I know I owe a blue topper, a blue video topper, a blue topper, blue journal topper video. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Blue journal topper video. And so I'm trying to wrap my head around that, where we can get that done. I need to print what I want on the cover. And right now I have no idea. Like, I know the image I want, but I need to go find it or make it. So I need to print the image that I want on the topper. And then I need to make the video of how to make the topper kind of situation. To make the blue journals, the ones we did prior to these, to make the topper for that. Now, do I have the hole reinforcers in here? I do. So let's grab 2 hole reinforcers, or 4, depending on if you want to put them on the back or not. I'm not going to actually put anything on the back of these. I'm going to leave them. You could put some coffee dyed paper to write on. I'm just going to leave them for now. I don't know. I might come in and change that, but let's get some hole reinforcers going. Almost forgot how I was doing this now. I used to stick them in the glue stick, but honestly, my fingers are so gluey now, I don't want to do it. They would just stick and smear. Good. Love it. Has furniture like household furniture, or is it like bathroom cabinets and kitchen cabinets? I'll have to look into that, because I honestly thought it was building materials. And maybe it's individual ones have different things in them or accept different things. I was really looking for one that would come out and pick up things, because I can't spend next week doing anything. I have to be here next week. So I'm really looking for one that comes out and picks the things up. I'm sure I will find them. I mean, it's not that hard, but it's just something I need to spend time doing. So there's those. That kind of helps warm it up, just getting that up there. And let's get that little final label on them. Ooh, that was a bad punch. I knew it was going to be too, because I just could feel it. Better. And there we go. My eyes are also very dry. Even though I use my bionic eye drops, the Restasis eye drops, it's just been very dry. Now I need to ink in the center. Bionic eye drops. That's what I call them because you can see with them and you can't see without them. So they're like bionic. They really improve my vision as well as my dry eyes. Okay, I have a bunch of little scraps over here. Does any of this need saved? That needs saved, and the rest of it needs to go in the bin. Okay, that was for my own sanity. We have this little section here, and I really do love this warm color. And I'm thinking of just making a little label just like that right there. Like, what if we did? What if we just went like that? And like this. Maybe put the straight edge at the bottom. Kind of like that. I like this one over here because it's longer and it covers up more of the words. I think we're going to do that with it. I will need the smallest torn edge ever so I don't lose too much of it. That works on that one. And it was just a scrap that was laying here from the last little bit that I tore. And so I'm going to be using this coffee dyed graph paper looking stuff throughout this journal make. I've got a little bit here that A, it's sticking over, and B, I'm just not loving the wording on it there. So I'm just going to kind of ink it into the background. We still need to ink around the whole tag. And then we're going to put this there. And then I would like to stamp a number on these or stencil a number on these to make them into actual labels. And I have those ledger stencil numbers right here, and I think I'm going to stencil them with that. So before I glue them on, I'm going to stencil them because if anything goes wrong, I at least can throw it in the trash can instead of already having it glued to my thing, my tags. So we're going to take these two. Let me make sure this one does go this way. Or does it go? Nope, it goes that way. Okay, fine. That one goes there, and I believe this one goes here. So they're the right way. Now let's stencil them. I have large number stencils and small number stencils. I need the scorched timber stenciling little thingy, which is that. And I need to put a new one of these on anyway. And I need to find the right side. When it's black, do you ever do this where you're like, which side goes on here? Because it's black. It's black on both sides. So there's that. And here's scorched timber. And I've been stenciling in scorched timber lately. So I'm just going to load up this little dauber. And we're going to put these on here in case I want to blend over, which I probably don't, but there we go. I'm going to try to center this number as best as I can, which it's graph paper, so it shouldn't be that hard, but it probably will be. I don't know if it's centered or not, but we're going to do it. It would be easier to stencil them on there and then try to blend it. Pretty good, not bad. Or tear it. Stencil them first and then tear them out, but we just are using scraps, so as long as I can get it halfway straight. And a stencil brush is also good, but I just keep these in this room, so there we go. We've got two of those, and this guy can go back in here. I'm just clipping a bunch of stencils together with a clip. Okay, done with that. Replace our blendy thing so we don't accidentally blend in the wrong color. And there's that. And I know you guys just purchased those stencil numbers and you want them. I know. They're coming, I promise. You guys just got them in the super sale. Okay, so you see how like this wormy color up here kind of helps with the warm color down here. Lovely. Love it very much. It was what was needed. And so now we're just going to glue these. And we made some little cute labels out of just basically trash. And they work great. So this is what you want to use your little ledger stencil numbers. They do not have to stencil the top corners of a page or a tag. They can just be for making little labels. Just like that. And I have some trash on my desk. Okay. Are these straight? Kind of, sort of. Just got glue there. So there's this one. It needs inked around. Definitely needs inked around. And I've turned up the brightness again on my monitor, and I need to turn it back down. So there's that one. This one is also crooked. And there's that one. Let's ink around the tags themselves. Clam chowder. Oh my gosh. Ribs. You guys are going to make me hungry for dinner. I also haven't been eating very much. It's just I'm too busy and too tired. Great for the diet, though. I don't know. It's just too busy. And I'm not at home. And oh my gosh, let's not even get started on my dad's diet. Everything is like super unhealthy. And I'm like, how do you eat like this? You cannot eat like this. And I know part of it is because, you know, he's alone and nobody cooks for him. But you can't eat like that. And especially at that age, like you cannot. And I guess that's maybe why he was trying to figure out how to lower your blood sugar. I don't know. He doesn't have high, obviously, like I said, but it was just super, I don't know, strange. I like those very much for just offcut Tim Holtz, whatever. Like that very much. Happy, happy. So there's two cute little tags. Now you could add coffee dyed paper to the back or you could leave them. You could put hole reinforcers back here if you wanted to too. Obviously you could ink around the back, but we're not going to take the time to do it right this second. So again, we have a pair of tags. Cute. Let's put those in the dump pile. Qdoba, awesome. Is that how you say it? Qdoba? I don't know how you pronounce that. Let's put these away. Just kind of looking at your guys' chat. You guys are just chatting away in there. That makes me happy. I love that you guys, you know, to chat in there with all your friends and you're talking about varieties of things. All right, so I have a little bit of scraps left on my desk. I'm going to clean this glue thing because it's bothering me. And I'm going to get a baby wipe. What else do we need to make tonight? What else is on my scrap pile here that I want to play with? I haven't used any ledger in a while, and I know we need to make some ledger things. So maybe I'll even grab a new piece of ledger so we have enough to play with. These are little pieces of music that I just stenciled the ledger stencil on. Those used to be in here. Those are super cute. We could even make little clusters. Cluster making is just something that, it's not a long project, right? It's very fast results. And you don't have to do like all the collage layering with glue and all that. You just quickly make clusters. I have a little bug journal card that I don't quite know what to do with. That can go in there. And we have Florentine paper. We haven't played with Florentine paper really at all in this project. Let's play with this pile. I have ledger and I have Florentine paper and I have some craft paper and I have bits, more little fun bits. And I have these mushrooms are printed on parchment paper and they look lovely printed on parchment paper with this Florentine paper. So we could do more mushroom little play here and make something. I have scraps of paper to make like notebooks or something. They're offcuts. So let's play with Florentine paper and let's play with craft paper. That seems like a fun thing. And here's a index card that has nothing on it. So a blank index card, some ledger paper, some Florentine paper, and one of these mushrooms. This is all just from my junk pile, guys. So let's stick this on here in the background. Do we want the Florentine at the top and the mushroom at the bottom? Or the Florentine at the bottom and the ledger at the top? I think we're going to go this way. Okay. So we're going to put this on here. I wish I had more index cards, and maybe I do in this pile, but I don't know where they are. Quick look so I can make two. It's always easier to make two at the same time. So that's why I'm going to look before I make this one, because chances are there is probably another index card somewhere in here. I don't see one, but I know there are some around here. Let me take a quick look and see if I can find some more. So I have this pile of goodies, and there are index cards in here. So let's make 3 index card journal cards quick. And by quick, I mean we already have a plan, and let's do it. 3 little journal cards. Lickety split. That kind of seems like a children's book. Anyway, let's glue this on. First layer is ledger paper. Any kind of ledger paper digital, doesn't matter. And let's just glue where we want it. Let's glue the bottom part on this one. So I'm just going to glue where I want that ledger paper to go. Stick the ledger paper on. And I'm going to have the top of this be Florentine paper. So I don't really care that, you know, there's some hanging off and some over to the side. It's all good. So there's that. Cut or tear that off and keep going. That's the first one. Now we need a few more. So again, card, glue, ledger paper, cutting it off. Repetition, repetition. Kind of like a mini mask make, really. And then this little skinny bit will be great in a cluster. So there's 2, and let's do 3. Was this piece big enough? Not quite, but it's okay. I'm still going to use it. Definitely right there. Okay. There we go. Does anyone have any fun plans happening this weekend? Maybe you guys already chatted about it and I missed it. So I have a little section here that doesn't have anything covering it. And for now, I'm just going to leave it until we get further along in the project, and then I will worry about it. And there's our 3 cards of that. Now we need to do Florentine across the tops of all of them. So going back to the first one. Now for the Florentine, you want a torn edge across the bottom part of it, right? So we're just going to take a piece of this and kind of focus on tearing a little section off. And it shouldn't be torn straight across. It should be torn kind of, you know, rough here or there, some pieces higher, some pieces lower. So you have something that looks like that where, it's rough. Even right here is probably a little too straight, so I'm just going to take another little chunk there. And there we go. I know you guys want the Florentine paper. I've heard. You guys have been very vocal telling me. And I know that is the very next thing we will sell once I do decide to have another live sale is the Florentine paper. Okay, so that's probably enough. Let's see. We might want it to come down just a little bit more. In fact, I even could go this way with it. Let's go that way. It's okay. Just, I need to get 3 out of this little tiny piece of Florentine paper. Okay, so we're good. And we're going to do the same thing. Glue the top part and stick the Florentine paper on and move to the next. And then there's our Florentine paper. And move to the next. These are just coffee dyed index cards. Coffee dyeing index cards, super fun. They dry super quick. And they have the writing space, some of them are lined. You don't have to use lined ones. You can use regular ones where they're blank on both sides. They even have graph paper ones. They have ones that have the dot journaling kind of look to them. I don't know what that's called specifically, but they have dots, they have graph, and they have regular lined ones and blank ones. And I'm sure they have more, but that's what I know about. Okay, so now we're here. We have another straight edge again, but I think I can get 2 this way now. I can. So let's do 2 across here now. And so I've been kind of sticking to mushrooms and flowers for decorating. However, I know that I want to start doing some ladies, some of the pictures and digitals of ladies and things like that. So we will start adding in more other kinds of focal points. Pretty much everything up to this point has been centered around mushrooms and flowers. And of course, it is a botanical field note kind of journal, but I did use some lady pictures from the kit that came, the March journal kit. I used some pictures of ladies from there, and I liked those. And so I am going to add in some of those kind of, I don't know, even Tim Holtz like portraits would be good to add in here. And so before I glue this down, I want to think about this little strip here that doesn't have anything. And am I going to be good leaving it coffee dyed, or do I want to tuck something under there? I think I'm going to leave it for now. And so we have Florentine there, and I ended up with just enough Florentine to do the tops and left over a nice section for collaging something else or a master board. There we go. So here's our 3 cards. And again, I need to put some things in the trash bin. I have limited space. I'm still looking for one of those trash bins that sticks on the edge of your desk and hangs over. No, I have not looked on Amazon. I don't know. Maybe I did. I think maybe I did. But I didn't know what to call it other than like edge of desk trash can. And that didn't yield me very good results, obviously. So we have 3. This is the one that has the little stripe down it. You can see it, but I want to wait and see how focal point looks. I have this brown craft paper, but I don't really think I'm going to use it on here because we have quite a bit going. So let's see where we're at with mushrooms. And I happen to have 3 mushrooms that are left over from other things printed on that kind of vellum paper, parchment paper. Yes, parchment paper. And for these, you could cut them out and leave them square, which is what I'm going to do first to see if I like it. If I do not like it square, then I will cut them out. But not everything has to be fussy cut. Sometimes it's okay to leave them square like this. So let's see how I like it. And I do like that. So let's just do that on these. We'll ink around them and that will also help. But the parchment paper is nice because it doesn't have a white background at all. It's this very vintage, kind of vintage photo colored paper. And these were just trash scraps on my desk. Me too. I use a lot of it. So, and I told you guys this before, but I don't know if you guys, all watch the same video or what. But on Amazon, Oohoo, for me, where I live, it will go from like $26 or $7 a case to $32 or $3 a case. And so I always have it in my cart, and I'm always, when I go on there to look for like Ziploc bags, I'll just check and see what the price of Oohoo is. It's kind of like stock. You check and see what the price is today, and if it's at a good price, you buy it. If it's at a bad price, you don't buy it. That's the way I buy the Oohoo. And so I like to buy it when it's less than $30, but that's my buy, is less than $30 per case of 12 sticks. But if you need it, you need it. And sometimes when it's I won't say on sale because it's not really on sale, but sometimes when it's at a lower price, I might buy 2 cases and hold on to them. It depends though, because I live so, in such a dry climate, I can't really have them laying around very long. Now, of course, I go through Oohoo probably more than anyone else, or any other person who's not like making daily videos or whatever, building 3 journals at a time. I realize I use Oohoo probably more than the average person. I blended that corner a lot for some reason, and I don't really know why. So now we have to do all of them that way. I did say I was blending corners, but I didn't really intend on blending them that much. And now they still look a little obvious up there. It's okay. We're going to go with it. It just frames it out. In fact, we need to blend it over this way a little bit. Having problems filling that in. Good, good. Love it. Cool. There's that one. Let's do this one, and let's not ink it like this because it's being bad to me. So let's ink it like this. I want a frame around it. I just don't want a super dark frame around it. So let's get that base layer on there before I try to ink it. Perfect. And now we can ink it. Trying to give it like a little halo look. And I really need a new inky thing. Okay, so there's that one. And this one I'm going to try to do normal. Let's see how I like it. I think it's just too much open space to not fill in with some ink. Yeah, it's too much open space. It needs filled in with some ink. So I found my mom's button box, which I thought I had the only one, and apparently she had multiple. So I did have that. I don't know. I found like umpteen million teacups. I don't even know. So many things. Mine does. So you might have an old one, or you might have not put on enough magic glue, but this is magic glue and mine has always stuck. However, I will tell you, and I have said this before, don't know if you've heard me say it. The first time I bought these sticks, I bought a 2-pack, and the 2-pack one did not stick either, and I hated it. And I said, I don't know why everybody uses this. So the first 2-pack I got was not very dark blue. And in fact, I think it probably was old or something because it didn't stick. And then I didn't try it again for a couple of years. Then I tried it again because everyone kept saying it was the best glue ever. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll try it again. I covered up pretty much all of my ledger, but that's okay. You know it's back there. And so I tried them again because everyone kept using them, saying they were great, whatever. And I bought a 12-pack this time because I'm like, whatever. It was cheaper than the 2-pack per stick because I think the 2-pack is like $10. And the 12 pack, like I said, is 25 or 6 or 9 or 32, whatever. And when I bought the 12 pack of them, they were all very dark blue like this, and they all worked fine. Great, wonderful. And I finally saw why everyone loved them. So I don't know if it's just some of them, if you get them from Amazon or where you're getting them from, some of them are old. I don't know. But the first one, when I bought the 2 pack, it was not as dark blue and it did not stick really either. And so you may have to return those. And I know it's a hassle to just return something as small as a glue stick, but you paid for it. You may have to return those and try ordering another place, like not from Amazon, like getting them at Joann's or wherever you're getting them. I guess not Joann's because that's not existing. Wherever you're getting Uhu from, maybe try a different place. Or try ordering a 12 pack or maybe just a different 2 pack ordered, a month after you ordered the first ones. Maybe they're not still selling old ones. I don't know, because Amazon, you know how Amazon works. Amazon sells some of the things, some of the items themselves, and some of the items come from like third-party vendors, which could be just like average, mom and pop people from home, like working from home, and they maybe bought some excess ones where they're not very sticky or they're old or whatever. I don't think they have expiration dates, but they do have a little stamped date code. Maybe they have like, I don't know. They're from Canada, I guess. I don't know. But you need to look into whether they're old or not. That's the best advice I can give you about them, because I will tell you they are great glue sticks. Wonderful glue sticks. But my first experience was not great either. And so these are cute little journal cards, and I want to use these kind of labels for them. And so we want something. I really would love to stick that on there, but I'm not going to. We've used it too much. And I want to use one of these little labels. Like here's a cute little green one. Here's a cute little green one. They're almost the size of postage stamps, some of them. That one's a little too light for me. Again, too light. Pink and red. A tiny little green one. Some of these are too tiny to hold. They're too tiny. I don't hate that one, but I also do not love it. This green one, I think he's going to bother me. He's a little too green. Let's not use him. I can live with that. Let's do that. They're just falling everywhere. They're way too small. I mean, some of them are, you need tweezers to use them. But you got them on Amazon? I got mine, all of mine have come from Amazon. I have never bought them anywhere else. Just because when I need a glue stick, I need a glue stick. And I typically need it now. So, I don't know. I always have stock on them now, but that's where mine came from. Are they cheaper anywhere else, guys? Are you guys seeing them cheaper anywhere else than what I'm saying? I'm always curious if Amazon has good prices or bad prices, because a lot of the things I get into buying from Amazon, I never checked around to see what they actually cost other places, because like I said, when you needed it, you just needed it. I want to see what some of these look like with a little bit of scorched timber around them to kind of frame them out. And since I have this little thing that we just inked up next to me, I'm going to try it. I do like it more. The vintage photo was just blending in so much because we have such inked little journal cards here. So I'm giving them a nice frame with the scorched timber. And I think that's nice. Gives me more of a frame around my little label. I'm getting it all over my hands because I was too lazy to replace my ink dauber thing, but it's okay. Let's see. Office supply cheaper. Okay, awesome. Does anybody remember or mind saying how much they were when you found them? Because I am very curious because I go through a lot of my fingers are terrible right now. I go through a lot of them. I'm very curious because like I said, I told you what the price that I find them on Amazon for, and I would really like to find them cheaper because I use them a lot. I have a little glue fairy that sometimes will send me some glue, which is nice. A little helper that gives me some Amazon gifted glue sticks. That's always appreciated because she knows I use them all the time. She's bought like, I don't know, 4 or 5 journals. She doesn't watch me on YouTube though. She doesn't have YouTube. Doesn't have much social media, she says. So she does not get to watch the videos, but she does like to support me in whatever way she can, which is super kind, super nice. Okay, so we've glued those on. And that was just a fast, easy little make. I think we should add postage stamps in the top corner. Either tabs on the top of them, but I don't know that I want tabs because I don't know what pocket they're going in yet. Let's ink around all of them and see about adding a postage stamp. What does it's restricted mean? Like age restriction or something because it's glue? Is that what you mean by restricted? I don't buy a lot of things from Hobby Lobby online, I will admit. They look much better framed around. I'm glad we got some Florentine paper in these journals too. I have been struggling with staying away from my Florentine paper for so long. I do love to use it. They look very nice inked around. They're kind of muted colorway. I like it. I think there is something called office supply. I think there is. And so I left that little strip with nothing and just kind of inked just slightly more over there. And it's totally fine. You will never know. You will never see it. So there we go. I might want a little more ink blended up in that area, and that's it. And maybe there. I can fuss so much with it. It's ridiculous. So let's leave them there. And let's look at a postage stamp. I mean, we could use real ones, but do we have that in here? That little bin of postage stamps? I do. Pull that over here. So this little bit needs to go in the lace bin, which is overflowing. It's like 10 times higher than the actual little bin. This guy here has these on paper postage stamps. Sometimes there's itty bitty little ones that are on paper still. Like here's a blue one. I just don't want a blue one. Those two are not on paper, but they're the right colors. This guy I could tear and get two, but not the right color. A lot of these are blue, and I really have to have a specific journal to use a blue postage stamp in. Well, I found just some plain stamps. Those guys? Maybe. All right, back in there you go. Okay. So if I use these, I would need to use them single. I definitely can't go on that side, but I could go right here. I don't know if I like that. That's an interesting cancel. You see the cancel on the stamp? I love that. The cancel is better than the stamp. And this guy here, I don't know if I love him. And he is upside down. He goes like this. He's kind of pinky in color. I think he's too bold. It's distracting. And I think he's too pink. This is how pick I am, even with little piece of ephemera that was supposed to be super fast to make. Okay, so we're looking for brown, green, or reddish color. This is the reddish color selection. I mean, I could see these ones not being terrible. Orange, we have enough orangey tone, definitely not yellow. Green, I like green. Let's do green. We're going to need to save him though. He's really cool. He needs scanned. For green, let's go here. Inky. Inky. This, when you ink these Tim Holtz stamps, they tear up my ink dauber a lot. And so, I don't know if there's a better way, maybe dip them into the ink pad or something in themselves, because they're so thick and rough that they really tear up your little ink blendy thing. Get that up there. Oh, is that upside down? It is upside down. Fun, fun. Okay, that's better. There's that guy. Okay, next. Next we have maybe this guy. And this one's already torn, so I'm going to continue. But FYI, if you're going to ink these a lot, which I have been using them a bit in this journal series, they tear up your little thingy because it's like serrated. It's super serrated on the edge. All right, he needs to go here or here, here. Packing paper behind them. Percentage off coupon. Love the mushrooms. Thank you. Let's do another one. Obviously, I have 3 journals, and one of these will go in each of the 3 journals, not all 3 together in the same. And I keep saying that because people ask. They're like, but they're all the same. Why do you make the same? And it's because they're in different journals. Some people make or try to make exactly the same thing that I make, and then they're like, but it's the same. So I do try to tell them so that they can follow my thought process. Okay, this guy just slid. And I could have used real stamps because I do have single real stamps laying around too. He needs to slide over and up. So I am trying to get them to where they're slightly off the edge on this side and just kind of up in this section. These two are not slightly off, but this one needed to be for some reason. Okay, we're done. We did it. Now, what's next? I have to look them up. Who's looking what up? What are we looking up? I don't see it. Article supply? I don't know what that word is. I'm gonna have to look up whatever you guys are saying right there and try to find some glue sticks apparently. All right, so you can ink around the back of them. I probably will at some point. They are coffee dyed index cards. They have glue or coffee dye or whatever all over them, but they're fine. And so there's those 3. I'll hold them up a little bit so you can see. These are the mushroom digitals that are on Etsy, but I printed them out on the parchment paper. And so that's why they're a little more golden color. This is the Italian paper back here. And there is ledger with handwriting. And really all you're getting for a ledger is just this little bit of handwriting. But you can tell it's original ledger and it's cute. So there's that. 3 of those. What else can I find in my junky scrap pile? Ooh-hoo. That's what you guys were talking about. Cool. I want to do something with packing this, like craft paper, packing paper. I do have, it comes in, it comes in sheets. You can buy a pack of sheets of this exact packing paper. I mean, it's exactly the same, but it comes in sheets and you can actually run this stuff through your printer and print on it. And so I am going to print off some black I shouldn't say black and white, but they're PNGs, so they have no background and it's just the black image. I'm going to print some of those on here in my spare time when I finally get a chance. Let's just do some little clusters. I have all of this stuff sitting next to me. Let's just do some little clusters out of this. For focal points, I would rather stamp some focal points on some paper. And that could have been a video because I just thought of an idea. That could have been a video, but let's play with some of this Florentine and this craft paper and whatever else I have in this pile. This is here. For focal points for this, little clusters, I think I'm going to use, do I have them? Usually I have a pack of Tim Holtz strips here. I have the little ones. That'll be good for focal points, I guess. Let's see. I do like using these in clusters, but I also like using Braille, and I think I have some Braille somewhere on this desk. I'll have to, oh, it's right there. So for focal points for these, I'm looking for ones that are obviously not the shabbies. I'm not looking for blues. I'm looking for ones that are more, and I can cut these up into pieces. So I'm looking for ones that match with the colors. I'm not looking for shabby floral. Anything earthy botanical is good. I won't do the red. So let me eliminate some of these selections and let's make some clusters, and that's how we'll finish out our time together. Clusters are good because if you just have a tag or a pocket and you want to quickly decorate it, you can just glue or staple a cluster on it. So I'm sifting through for color first and a little bit of theme. I got rid of all the red, all the blue, all the purples, and keeping the neutrals, the oranges, yellows, and greens. Some of them, as long as they were not too shabby looking. I know, right? Oh my gosh. I talked about it earlier, how it's been going. It hasn't been going super fun, but I will be done with it on Sunday, and I will be back to normal on Monday. I will be extremely exhausted, but I'll be back to normal on Monday. So when I need a little focal point or a little something else, we'll look in this pile. And for now, let's just start here. And so let's focus on trying to use up some of this. I have these little offcuts of cardstock that we talked about, and in fact, there are more over here. So let's grab those. So those little strips of cardstock, the skinny little strips that you can't really use for anything else. I mean, you could make belly bands or something, or little tag charms, but let's use those. So there's those. And I like using a little bit of cardstock or a little bit of that, a little bit of, sorry for my reaching, a little bit of Braille paper because it's thicker and it adds more structure to your cluster. So that's there if we need it. And there's that. And so let's pick one of these. I actually like this with this. So let's kind of go in a different direction. We'll do some that are really neutral and some that have more color. I really should just cut this because I don't care that it's going to be straight. So let's start with a strip of that. And we have this, and I definitely want a strip of that on there. And so I'm going to work by layering for size, for color, for texture, for all kinds of things. And we can talk about it as I go. But I mean, this could even go on the top if you stamped a little number or stenciled a little number on it again. I've got clusters of offcut. And this is, you know, you see the white edge. So if you just ink it away, you will no longer see that white edge. This is a printed, not my print, but somebody's print of some kind of ledger paper or handwritten something. So there's that. And so I'm mixing straight edge with torn edge. And I'm just going to start making it look nice to my eye. There is formulas, but I've already done a whole thing on clusters, so I won't bore you guys with that. We have handwriting. We could do music. We definitely could use some text in here. I have down here. So that would be good. We'll just cut it to size. There's that sticking out there. I'm looking for 3 to 5. If it goes to 7, I'm okay with that too. It doesn't really matter as long as at the end of the day I'm happy with it. And there's this. It's too much of the same color. I think we need to freshen this up with this. That is good. And then it will need some kind of focal point. It's a lot of miscellaneous things. And I will probably need to tear off some of these corners up here. But I think it's good. So I'm going to get it where I want it, and then I'm going to staple it. I'm going to make sure all the pieces are good. If you don't want to do it this way where you're holding it in your hand and you're fighting with 5 to 7, 10 pieces, then just start gluing. And it doesn't have to be glued a lot. It just needs to be a dot, a stripe, whatever, and then keep going. So work your way backwards. It's just I have so many pieces in my hand that lining them all up would have taken longer than doing it this way. So we're just going to build it this way. Normally I just staple. Okay, and now we're here, and I could staple, but we've already been gluing, so we might as well just continue. So there's that, and then we need to tear some of the edges. So I've got the layer down, and so like we have this little point here and this little point here. I really don't want either of those, so we're just going to tear it like that, and then down here across the bottom like that. Losing that little rough corner here, tearing it back. I'm pretty good with that. So all of this can go. And now we're left with this. Now this cute little yellow flower is here. So I do want to try to save it with coming across with something else. And then that's where this stuff would come in. Again, it really needs a postage stamp or something like that to brighten it up. So I think we're just going to go here to this little section of these guys. And we're going to pull one of those. Just something to brighten it up. It's very, very bland right now. Everything's the same color. There's nothing cheery about it. These are some tax stamps. That would work. There's this one that would work, but they're all green. And I was really hoping for something different. Have anything yellow on paper? Maybe this reddish color one. These are supposed to be fast. I say that every time. I know I'm fussy with them. There's that one maybe. Let's look at that. Okay. So I really like these tax stamps and I would love to put them in there, but they are very large and I do not want to sacrifice them anywhere else. So no for those. This guy, I wouldn't need the back portion of that. And if I put it in there, it will cover up that flower. Same thing with this. It's going to cover up this flower. And you're not supposed to worry about what you cover up. You're really not. So we're just going to have to find something and stick it there. Pretty perfect. It's cutting it at a weird angle. The flower is going to throw me off the entire time. Okay. So it won't work because I won't cover up my yellow flower. So in that case, we just have to cover up the whole entire thing. We just got to find a piece here that's got some color to it. Like I could go in the top with these butterflies. That would work for me. Butterflies are good. Even that right there would be good. Too much green. What about this one? From here down with these ladies, or from here up with the bird? I don't know. Let's cut it. I'm going to cut it here. That's better. If I was trying to save this and it will not work with saving it. So the only thing to do to make my brain happy is, oh, it's not there. It was never there. You guys get it? It was never there. We didn't ever see that at all. Nobody ever see that. Okay, we're good. Don't start out with something you like and then say, oh, I don't want to cover it up. It's just too frustrating. Okay, so in this case, I do want to attach these with that stapler, which is laying over here somewhere. And then we're going to glue on this thing. And the reason why I'm stapling it is because I know I put some glue there, but I didn't glue it permanently. I glued it because I didn't want it to move while I was playing with it. Now I'm going to glue my cover piece on, and I don't want everything glued tight. I want it floppy like this. So now I'm just covering up my staple. And there's that one. And we have a very large one to cover a tag or a pocket, or it can even be a tuck where you tuck in a tag underneath. It's kind of shaped like a tuck. So that's a good one. Let's play with these pieces now. We have them. A little bit more time. The ladies, I know I like them too. However, they were too similar to the color of that strip that was already back there. For these guys, I mean, if we're going to start with it, which I said not to, we're going to go with this. I just said, don't start with something you don't want to cover up because it just makes it harder. If you work your way backwards, it's harder than working from the back forward. Do you know what I mean? Don't work from the top down, work from the back forward. It's just easier. Anyway, let's start with this. It's here. It's a strip of some book page. I don't even care that it would be upside down. I'm going to leave it upside down. Yes, I am. So there's that. And then what about music? Ooh, there's more of this handwriting. And see, it's just a weird little offcut where you're going to get some handwriting, but you're really not getting anything else. That will work right there. And see, cool. Let's do it. These, because they're Tim Holtz pieces, everything else is vintage or copy dyed. We're just going to ink the Tim Holtz because I don't like that white edge. And then for this one, I think I can just staple it. If I can find the stapler. I'll put 2 because it's long. And then these ladies go here, and then we tear. I might actually add a little over here because this is a piece of cardstock. And I need to slide it where I'm happy. Right there. And then I need to put the pin in the glue and tear it. So that was a faster one. I have all this excess down here. It's up to you where you want to end it at. You can keep it super long like that and do it down the edge of a page. So for now, I might just kind of leave it and see how it works. Because, like, imagine this was your journal page and you put it all the way over here at the edge. You could leave it long and figure out what length of the page you're going to use it on. I might leave it for now because I'm not going to gain, these aren't going to be usable. So for now, I might as well leave it until I know what journal page I'm sticking it on. I mean, I would stick it on this side. But if I'm using it on a journal page like this, at least I have the tails to tear off to size to my paper. Whereas if I just tear them now, you're not saving anything here. This is trash. So I'm going to leave it. So we have two. Let's make some more. And I have more trash. Okay. So now we have some of these again. We have those out. You can use this in them. A little scrap of that. I have a little scrap that's like faux ledger. Let's use it this way. And it's like one of those printy papers that has the white in it. Not original ledger, but faux ledger. So we're going to ink it because it's new. And then, let's see, let's do music in this one. And or handwriting. We've been doing handwriting in all of them. This is handwriting though. So music. Music. It's not the right size. It's got to be smaller because I don't want to cover up all of my handwriting and ledger and stuff back there. So I've made it smaller. It's on there. We've got this little guy here. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Awesome. And what do we want on top of this one? What do we want for the top layer? What do we want to decorate this with? We want to go to Tim Holtz things. We don't really have like much sturdiness in this. It's pretty flimsy. We could do these orange butterflies with it. Not finding a whole lot to use with this one. Maybe that section with the green? Maybe this one. Even this one with these numbers. Okay, let's go with this. We're going to have to do trial and error. We have this right here. And we just need a little bit. And so maybe I want to cut half there and do that. Too big, won't fit. That's okay, we'll still use it somewhere. I could cut out just the little square picture of the guys, but I don't know that I will love that. How about this little guy and his little baby? Let's try that one. It's a cuter picture. And I'm going to try leaving this orange on, but I probably will have to cut it off. No, I won't. But now that I see this, do I just want this on there? No, I do not. Okay, the guy it is. Poor people who have to listen to my brain work. Okay, I am going to add some Florentine paper to this because this orange right here is very similar to this. So we were a little small anyway. Let's just make a larger cluster. This little Florentine needs to be tucked in here somewhere. How can I get some Florentine paper in here? I think I want it back here. And I think I want it to have a torn edge. I hope you guys sit down and make some clusters this weekend. Super fun and super mind, I don't know, therapy. Super therapeutic for your brain. It's just calming for me anyway. I know not everybody sees it that way. Some people hate making clusters. The part of collaging they don't enjoy. So that's a cute little guy. What I will do is I'm going to staple it before anything moves. And then if you look at this music paper, when I put the topper on, if you look at this music paper, it's too straight right here and it's ending at the same place as my Florentine. So the music just needs a tiny little trim there. My fingers are super gross because they have glue all over them. Just need a little tiny trim there. And there we go. Better, much better. I love it. And I will love it more inked. But other than that, we're good. And we're going to glue this. I am, because I love doing clusters and collaging. Thank you guys. You guys being here it's very helpful. Very helpful. Here's that one. I love doing this, and hopefully you guys can see that. When I said I like making little clusters and doing collage, it is really honestly my favorite thing. Masterboards, I love doing that. Love, love. Okay, I got more stuff. Let's play with that. This guy needs used. He's floating around here way too long. This I thought was super fun in a cluster because it's just like a little number 20 in some some words. So let's try to use that. I have all kinds of little weird shaped bits. And this just has the smallest amount of handwriting, but it's that 1600s paper and it just has a lot of texture to it. And that, and this. I have tiny little bits this time. Can we do like some tiny little cluster? Yes, we can do tiny little cluster. If I don't add anything else, it's cute, but I do want this in there. So for this guy, he gets stapled and then he gets torn. This is probably not the final top bit, but it is the top bit for now. And then back here, we're going to go like this. And I don't know that I need that, but for now I do. And then we've got straight, straight. Better. This is okay. I like that one. But it needs a postage stamp in the center. That's really all I want in there. And not to be straight again. When you staple, stapling does allow a slight movement. And so if that's the case, you just need to add a little glue in there. The staple, it holds, but it doesn't necessarily hold straight and from wiggling. So I will add a postage stamp to that. I know we had some like off the paper ones right here in the front. And I do want to use some of these back here, but I know they're big. So again, large, large. What about this one? And just keep it very neutral. Or this guy and go green. Even that one is super sweet and cute. I don't know too many options. Okay. Well, I love the neutral. Let's see what he looks like with green. I will let you guys audition. Here's what he looks like with green. It's kind of blurry on camera, but the green is cute. Not my favorite. Here's the brown. And I like the brown because we have that brown graph paper back there. And I like the number on it. And then there's this one, which might be my favorite because it's just cute. Green. I like the voting. So it is between this guy. It's this guy. It has to be this guy. So again, glue, glue. I did the light green, guys. I don't know what color it's coming across to you guys, but it's kind of like a light, I don't know, a light green. And that's what I'm doing. Although this little stuff up here is bothering me, but I don't want to tear it too much as I can't afford to lose it. That's better. A little less straight. Sometimes the smallest little tear of paper makes me happy, and then I realize that's ridiculous. Okay, a couple more and then we will wrap it up. I know we are over our 3-hour crafting time, but I haven't seen you guys in forever. I like the number one too. I just knew that in this journal, I'm going to have so much neutral that we might as well put some little pop of color in there. So if I dig in my pile and find the smallest little bits that need to be used, that will probably be hard to be used in other things. Let's see what we can create with small bits. My son is like, when are we eating, Mom? Soon, soon. We're eating soon. I want all the tiny little bits that probably would not get used in anything else. Here's a triangle, just some weird paper. This is a little strip of coffee dye. I mean, this is definitely not getting used in anything else. There's this. There's that. I'm going to put them all on here, and we're just going to do clusters with these and call it good. Ooh, a fun little piece of music. So this is like what you do with your scrap bin, where you go through and you say, okay, what is basically either I use it now or it goes into the trash bin. Like this does need to go in the trash bin, but other than that, we've got it. Everything else is trash. This goes back over here to be used tomorrow or whenever. I won't be home tomorrow, but whenever I use it. This is what we need to use or throw away, okay? So I have some cardstock, I have some stamps, I have this, whatever. Let's just pick up what we need to play with here. I mean, I could match shape, but I think I need to save them. So let's try this. I have an awful lot of same colors. Let's flip this around. Let's look at it this way. That's not working for me. I have handwriting. I have that. I don't have enough options. I can tell you that much. So now we need to go over here. There's not enough interest over here. We need to go to this section. So let's look at these. Again, if I do that, I'll drive myself crazy with that green flower. Unless I just put it to the back there and ignore it. And just use it like that. Maybe, but not my favorite. I like this. But again, I like what's on it. And you can't like what's on it. It won't work that way. Let's use this green piece. Green piece. Let's use that. We have ledger. I don't have anything else that looks interesting to me. That kind of works in that spot. And then what about one of these? I would love it, but it would need torn down quite a bit. And then there's this. It's this. And that's how quick it changes. My mind changes. It's just done. Okay. So we're trying to straighten, straighten, straighten. And staple, we'll have to do some tearing. Get the focal point on. And this needs inked quick. This is a piece of the strip of Tim Holtz collage strips. I don't know what my son is doing, but something loud. He's like, well, if you're not going to feed me, then I'm going to make noise. Okay. There's that, but this is all ending at the same length here, so we need to change this little Florentine piece of paper here. As much as I hate losing any of it. You can't have things end at the same point. They have to be able to see the different layers, or I have to be able to see the different layers. And this is that 49 a market paper, and it's just so white whenever you use it, basically. So I'm inking it after the fact. And there's that one. I think the postage stamp was cute. And in fact, you still could put a postage stamp in here, or a little number, or a little something. I don't really have anything here to use for that purpose, but something small right there would be cute. I don't have anything, so we're moving on and we're leaving that one the way it is. And I say I don't have anything, but I do have like, I do have one of these tiny, tiny little labels. And so let's stick it there. Let's just do it. Right in that area. It kind of fills it in for me a little bit. Yeah, see the staple back there? It just allows it to turn. And that little turn makes me unhappy if it's not perfectly straight. Okay, so we have that one now. One more. One more from our trash pile. The trash pile. How about we start with this guy? At least he has pattern and color. And maybe we go here and possibly here. And I'm really trying to use one of these, but I can't seem to get it done. Do I want this one? That's okay. It's all right. Let's do it. I think it needs one more piece because it's only 4, but we'll do it. And so this piece is crooked, but I'm trying to get the stamp straight. And then I'm adding a little glue in there. And there's that one. I don't know. I need to turn the brightness down. Before I show you guys everything we did tonight, let me turn this brightness down. It shows the lights in here are so bright. If I can make one more out of this, I will. And then I promise we will be done. I don't know that I can because I have very neutral color things up here. Maybe we will do one with neutrals. We're part of the way there. I have like very slim pickings here. Very slim. I don't think there's anything else here that I can use in this one. And I need a small little piece. Something small. Or that needs to go on top of something. I don't really think it adds anything to have this other piece in here. If I swap that out, like this guy right here, or turn it backwards to this green. No, let's do this. Maybe. It's handwriting and handwriting, but I do like the neutrals, so let's do it. And it uses up more of my trash. So this is where we're going to staple, and then we'll add a focal point. And I need to ink around the little Tim Holtz thing and add so that these don't move. And that little tan colored number stamp, that would be great on here. So wherever that ended up, that would be a good focal point. And I kind of just inked the whole thing, and whatever was hanging over the edge also got inked. So we'll just ink the whole thing and kind of grungy it up. If you're going to ink, definitely ink before you staple. But if you're me and you just stapled it, then you're going to ink it. Okay, this is crooked. I stapled it crooked or I glued it crooked, and there it is. So this is all that's left. Yes, you probably still could make one, and you know, I may or may not throw it in the trash, but let's see that little neutral stamp. It was right here. Hopefully I can find it again. It's right here. Let's put that on there. And we'll call that guy done. And it goes right there. See, this guy being crooked is going to bother me, but it's all right. I can live with it. And that one's almost like a little rectangle. It's kind of cute. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll decorate a tag with it. Or maybe we'll just put it on a page. So I'm going to turn off the thing that is making everything blurry. And I'm going to show you guys everything we made tonight. And then I will, you know, my phone likes swear words. Oh my gosh. Sometimes the autocorrect says the most horrifying things. And it's like, no, I did not say that. I do not mean that. I do not say that. No. But autocorrect apparently does. All right. Let me fix my camera thing and we'll show you guys what we made and say our good nights. And I don't know what else, but we'll see. Let me clear out some of this so you guys can see what we did. I'm just going to pick this up and put it in a pile, and then I'll separate it out and put it away later. There's that. That and that. And when there's nothing on the desk, it doesn't look so great. Okay, so what is making it blurry? Let's try to this for just a moment. This is what we made. We actually, well, we didn't decorate all of it, but we made some stuff. Okay, I'm fixing the camera. There we go. And we made, starting from the top, we started here with pockets, and I do have these ones to decorate still. There's 4 of them undecorated, and then we did these 2 little mushroom pockets, and those are for the inside, one of the inside of my covers. And then we did these 2 tags. I love the tags. And then we did these 3. And it's nice because now I have one for every journal. Cute. And then we did clusters. I love this guy. He's going to go all down a page with his long tails. Then this guy. And this guy. And that little one. And these ones were really just from trash. That one's one we just did. And this guy. Cute. Cute little pile of ephemera. I mean, you know, if I decorate these back pockets, there's a little more there. But super cute, guys. That was fun. Hello, Bev. Hello, and thanks for joining. Okay, let me fix this camera now. We need to turn that off and come back to here, and there we go. So we did a little bit of things for our journal, not much. You'll have to pardon me. I'll be better next week when I am more focused. So next Friday, we will continue and I will do the signature and sew it in. And basically at that point, I will have so many pockets and tags and whatever made next Friday. I'll be closer, much closer to finishing. After next Friday, if you want to pull stuff for next Friday, I still need to find a digital. If I'm going to use a digital, I need to find it. I looked on Etsy once and found some that, my problem with buying a kit on Etsy is if I buy a kit and all I'm really going to use is 1 or 2 pages, it doesn't feel really worth it. There were a couple kits that I found where I liked 1 or 2 pages, but I didn't like the other 10 pages or whatever. I might end up having to buy like 3 or 4 kits just to get enough pages if I use digitals. I also just need in general to spend more time looking and make sure that I find one. So if I said I was going to do this last week, but then family stuff. So if I find digitals, I will definitely, because, you know, even if I need to drive to cell service, I will definitely tell you guys which kits I buy if I'm going to use one. If I have not found a kit by next Friday, I will not be using digitals other than my own digitals in the journal. It's fine to not use a journal kit in a journal, a printed digital kit in a journal. Many people request journals that do not use a digital kit because they don't have a printer. So it's fine. We won't be the end of the world if we use a signature that doesn't have digitals. However, I'm going to look again. I'll try to find time to do that, and I'll post in the Facebook group if I use digitals. If you do not hear from me, then I am not using a digital by next Friday. Okay. You can see I'm having a hard time standing because it hurts. But that being said, next Friday we will have signatures done. We will have pockets and ephemera ready to stick in there because you guys, you know, have been making with me in the 365 series. We will make whatever last little bit of ephemera, if any, that we need next Friday as well. And if we have all of the ephemera and the signature gets put in, then we will move on to doing that final little bit of embellishing. And the last thing that we will do is a 365 video for the journal cover topper, which is also a closure. If you guys did not purchase elastic binding or banding yet, it is probably because I did not link mine. I just remembered that. I need to link it because you need to know the width of the elastic cording to use if you do not already have some. So that is something I will post in the Facebook group. I need to go in my room right now before I forget and find the elastic, or I can look at Amazon and see what my purchase history is. But I will link the elastic banding. If you have anything that looks like the thickness of a hair tie, you know, like a ponytail holder, the thinner kind of ponytail holder, that's the kind of thickness of elastic banding you want. You can even purchase or use like the headband size elastic. The little tiny ponytail ones won't work, but you need some length of it. You need probably at least 12-inch pieces or so of it. So if you use a headband, you could cut it, and that way it's a long piece. That might be a cheaper option than buying the elastic banding from Amazon. When I bought mine, it was like $12 and you got a giant spool of it. So I will link it in the Facebook. I will put it in the Facebook group. That way you have that ready for when I make the 365 video for the topper. It's a lot of saying that. Anyway, I'll find an Etsy digital kit if I'm going to use one, and I will link that, and I will link the elastic for the topper part of it. Oh my gosh, guys. Once these journals are done, I'm going to take a nice little breather because I know we're about due for another journal kit. I don't know if it'll happen on time, probably, but I'm trying really hard to get these done and get that next one started. Yeah, it's middle of April's rolling around really fast, and my eyes are super heavy and tired. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I know some of you guys just logged in, and so you can watch this video after when the live video ends. If you go out and come back in, it will start over from the top, and you can watch all the way through. Fast forward through me chit-chatting if you don't want to hear about whatever it is I'm talking about, and just kind of watch along as I make. That's a good way to rewatch it. But it'll stay up on the channel for forever. Again, you can fast forward through anything you don't want to listen to me. I'm going to try to eat some dinner soon and go to sleep because my eyes are very, very sleepy right now. My coffee has worn off, guys. And plus my feet hurt. It is okay. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for putting up with me. And we hit 10,000 subscribers a while ago. And we are still going to do a video where I make a journal from the Italian file folders. I just want to make sure that you guys you purchase the Italian file folders during the super sale, I want to make sure you have a chance to get your Italian file folders before I do the video making the journal and giving away the journal. So once you guys get them, so say maybe 2 weeks from now, maybe 3, I will do that video showing me make a journal from the file folder covers. And then that journal that I make on camera is the journal I'm giving away for the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. It'll all be in videos. You guys will all see it. I'll post it into Facebook so you guys will all see it there. So that way you guys get a chance to win the giveaway journal. Those are the things I promised were coming. And if there's other things, somebody needs to yell at me because I cannot remember at this present time. I need to start, like, I used to keep a planner and write it all out. And I got away from doing that. Oh my gosh, it just totally hit my desk. I got away from doing that. And honestly, I need to go back to the planner where it's all written out every day. It keeps me on track better. Oh my gosh. You guys are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for the patience and the just giving me permission to do this thing with my family and get it over with and get back to no daughter's wedding and no mother's estate collection, whatever we want to call that mess. Once I'm past that, I don't know of any other obligations I owe to anyone. And I believe we can just relax and enjoy the last little bit of springtime here in Arizona before it gets hot. We'll do super sale stuff, obviously. And you guys want Italian paper, but other than that, see, the list can just keep going. Anyway, I'll see you guys again soon. I will be here on Tuesday of next week. I will be here. We are not going to have a sale because I am not ready for it, but we will not have a sale, but I will be here. We may be crafting. More than likely, we will hang out and craft on Tuesday. So you might get bonus craft with me, and it will more than likely be working in the floor or the I want to call it Florilegium. We will more than likely be working in the field note journal on Tuesday. So if you are around on Tuesday and you want to hang out with me, come hang out with me. A lot of people will be there for a sale because they will assume I'm going to sell because it's Tuesday, but I will not be. I will put that in the nearest 365 video to let everyone know there too. Anyway, that's my crazy schedule. I'll be here Tuesday and Friday next week, guys. You'll see me in the morning coming soon. Thank you guys very much, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you guys soon. And there's that.